Uncle Joe is drunk by 5, and Marie can't let it slide. She brings up the will again. Christmas with these assholes again. Cousin Bill forgot my name, still insists we play charades. Grandma's glare could pierce your skin. Christmas with these assholes again. Oh, the eggnog's spiked, the tension's high, the turkey's dry as sand. But I'll survive, just smile and lie. It's Christmas with these assholes again. The carolers sang, but Dad slammed the door, said he's had enough of their cheer. The dog ate the ham and then threw it up, but hey, that's just this time of year. Sister Sue brought her new fling. Mom pretends to like the ring. She whispers he's just like the last 10. Christmas with these assholes again. Oh, the lights are dim, the insults fly, the pie's been burned to ash. But I'll survive just one more night. It's Christmas with these assholes again.
See, I told you the whole secret. Now you don't know it, and it's my fault. This is what happens when I try to jump in too early, and then it'll be 2 minutes of no audio as people still tell me. There you go. I'm unmuted now, but I'm sorry. Now it's, you know what? This is me taking my penance. This is me getting my spankings like a good little boy. The reason I was late is because of family stuff, and that's all I have to say about that. Because some things are none of your business. It's just that kind of thing in life. And all I will say is all as well as can be. And that's as much as we can expect in these crazy, crazy days. Especially the last little bit, what I would refer to as the current unpleasantness. Considering doing all right. And certainly, what was it? Not as good as some, but better than most, I think, is the standard by which we often reference how well you're doing in kind of colloquial phraseology when somebody asks you, how you doing? Yeah, no, not as good as some, but better than most. It's a good way to throw it around, and I agree. And it's it's a wonderfully opaque saying. You don't actually have to tell anybody what's really going on. But at the same time, excellent. Well, Surrender, you started without us, and I think that's important. Did you all have a nice birthday meal? I'm not having the birthday meal. This was not what that was. But I did. It is Ethan's birthday. I just saw Ethan. He just left a few minutes ago. But he and his mom are having a private dinner together. And then there's something else. I'll tell you about it later. It's a big shh. Don't shh. So, yeah, I'm not. That's it. Now, let me know in the chat room where you are, what part of the world you're in. Let us know how Megaworldwide you are. I also am going to show you something in a moment that is, I find brutally irritating, and especially as I understand things. And this is one of those moments where life experience gives you a window into. Okay, I used to have a joke about my dad that started with the phrase, "My dad is an asshole connoisseur." And you get obviously an awkward laugh when people leap to a conclusion about what that means. And what I mean by it is that he was always concerned for the distinct categories of assholes that existed in any circumstance. And he would let you know this by addressing said people in the world as by starting the sentence with, "What kind of an asshole would park like that, leave their basket in the middle of the aisle of the store and just leave?" But like, what kind of an asshole is the deepest philosophical I could speak philosophical question of his life. When I was in high school, was apparently that was the question. The rest of us were seeking the answer to life, the universe, and everything, and my dad was trying to find the answer to what kind of an asshole would say something like that in public. And it was an ongoing quest. And our first guest on Hal Sparks' Megaworldwiide is a darling of the right, of the right of the right, of the Reich of the right in many ways. He's our favorite mustachioed Tony Robbins love child, Ian Carroll. And Ian Carroll, who's come onto the scene because he's basically become, he's one of these conspiracy adjacent pricks that yammers online, and there's a lot of questions here, right? That kind of shit. And if some of it doesn't work its way out, and if it does, just ignore the stuff that shoots down what you were talking about. So, I want to show you just a piece of he's reviewing Erica Kirk talking to Glenn Beck, who in the clip, insofar as I can tell, Glenn Beck, who the one thing he and I share is we're both weepy sons of bitches. Neither one of us is afraid to cry in public. And hats off to him. Not that he has much of a choice. And it happens at, super random with him. But I would like to say for the record that he has on Erica Kirk to address all this shit. By the way, in many ways, in an attempt for the Blaze to get themselves out of screwing up the life of a female Capitol police officer by saying she was the J6 bomber, which, by the way, they still don't believe, which is fantastic. Okay, so let's listen, and you'll see if, considering what I've just been through, and if you don't know, and if you haven't been around, my father just passed, and I just spent the last month and change as he was hospicing at his home in Kentucky by his side. I was holding his hand when he died. He fell onto my chest, my shoulder when he died, and I was with his body until they came to get him for almost 5 hours, like 4.5 hours, because we were out in the sticks. And I, his wife Carol and I were there together. And there's this really strange thing about grief where you just ebb and flow through it. Your body can only take the weight of it so much that you seek a way out or a way around. And I want you to see. I want to see if you can pick out why what this fuckwad says triggers me. And by the way, this does not. I'm sympathetic to Erica Kirk as a woman who's just lost her husband. Politically, that the rest of it goes out the door. I'm able to do that. If people aren't able to do that, that's their fucking burden, not mine. I won't carry that weight for you, nor will I help you explain it away. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, Manchita says I described it as waves. I in many ways, I would describe it as being in the eye of a tornado that just keeps floating back and forth. It's just, you're still in the tornado, even though you can see blue sky above you and the air seems spooky and still, because the next round of it is coming. So listen to this for a second.
4 tours.
Okay, so let's pick up. I'll show you where the question.
I'm going to be murdered. They're coming after me. Someone's going to kill me. He didn't say that. And I have
That's what Candace Owens has been saying, that like he knew this was going to happen. Like, and this is part of the mythology of almost everybody who's assassinated at some point.
cell phone. Didn't say that. And so what I do know is that we believe in the power of prayer. And what I do know is that we believe in our sovereign God. And what I do know is that that night before, we did what we usually did before tours. We said our prayer. And we asked the Lord to protect us. And we asked the Lord that his will be done.
Now, this is, whether this is a belief system you have or not, please don't take the bait and jump into like anti-Christian bashing, or that prayer doesn't matter, or she doesn't have the right to prayer, or blah, blah, blah. It's a waste of your empathy. You're burning empathy when you do that, okay? Let it slide. Move that aside. Don't get baited into being, as shitty as you think someone else is. That would be my first thing. And this is a great example of it. Watch what he says.
Listen, I'm not trying to make a huge deal out of this point, but for me, I have had trouble squaring when are we going to get Tissue Erica and when are we going to get these other Ericas. And there feels like there's just a really distinct line between the two. And it felt like Tissue Erica just went on and on and on and on and on. And every day at every media appearance, it was a full-on Tissue Erica.
Now, I know you completely understand where I'm going to go with this, considering what I've just been through. You don't have control over when it hits you. I wasn't even able to finish my remarks that I wanted to say about my dad and his gathering of friends at his memorial last Friday. Like, I couldn't get through it. And so as these emotions come up, you may manage it a good portion of the time. And then it just fucking hits you. And the more you address it, or the more, emotion or, eyes on you, whatever you're comfortable with, you're not comfortable with in those situations, it will stack. And so on behalf of anybody who's lost somebody, whether I like that person or not, whether they are on my political side of the aisle, I would like to say definitively to Ian Carroll, you gaping anus, fuck you. Fuck you. And everybody in your fucking chat room that jumps on somebody who's grieving with both feet because they don't play the part the way you think they're supposed to. It is childish, it is grotesque, and it is as evil a thought as he would project onto anybody, whether he calls them juice boxes or he thinks, they're assassins working in Turning Points USA. Fuck this dude. Fuck Ian Carroll, this cheap, chiseled piece of shit. Full fucking stop. And you can tell this guy has no connection to loss or grieving or what any of the feelings around this stuff would be. None. Because I also guarantee Erica Kirk is not the only person he views that way. Because if he runs into anybody else who's just lost someone, who's either angry about that loss and vacillates between sorrow and anger, or is trying to move on with their life and vacillates between warm, loving memories and sorrow, whatever that vacillation is for you, Ian Carroll, dipshit, fuckwad, asshole extraordinaire, will stand in judgment of it. I am hostile as fuck to the even concept, and anybody who thinks she's faking or what have you, immaterial to the circumstance. You don't know. And to draw a conclusion about somebody who's lost their husband, who's been through something like this, and the shock of it, and trying to maintain, running on whatever the other shit that's going on, that to immediately jump to it's fake because it's inconsistent is garbage. Again, this doesn't even have anything to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk as a political act or as a murder, as a crime, which are the two realities it actually operates in. This is the socio-dynamic of the maggot right, and it is indicative of why these people have no shame, but they can be embarrassed. It's fucking gross. It's weak. It's lame. It's pathetic. You have to, and again, this is somebody on his side. This is the equivalent if I found out that Anna Kasparian, who I have a lot of disagreements with, if her husband was killed and she inherited his money or something, let's just say he's rich and she got a bunch of money. So you know that with his death, there's a paycheck as well. But to assume that there would be no grief, even in that circumstance, would be below me as a human being. And it would be indicative not of a character flaw on her part, but a character flaw on my part if I bought into that. If I acted like that, I would be less of a man. Now, the other thing I want to show you about Ian Carroll is, hold on, let's see if I get this over here. Check out all those super chats. Ding, 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 ding. One just passed through again when there, yeah. $20, $50. Just running it off. There you go. Just and granted, this might just be, Cutter sock puppet PayPal accounts, or some shit. Don't care. It could also be maggots who agree. That wouldn't surprise me either. But this guy is feathering his nest with this kind of shit. So, other than that, I have no opinion. That's the standard by which I choose to live. And there is no need to drop below that standard as a human being. It gives me no value. It shows no strength on my part. It would show no resilience. It would not guarantee that I prove to you that I'm not gullible or something like that, if that's the worry about believing someone's grief. Oh, Michael, thank you. You get me? And I know people disagree with this. I've seen people in my chat, who are more than happy to live at that line. I'm not going there. And there are plenty of places for you to find comfort and be surrounded with like-minded people who will be as shitty as Ian Carroll. I'm not doing it. My rule is I do my best to not make fun of anything about you can't change in your circumstance or in your life. And anything you can change about yourself that you're a fuck up in, that you actively participate in that fuckery, a proud chain smoker with lung polyps, something along those lines, then, it's kind of open, it's a case-by-case basis. In the case of Trump's dementia, I wouldn't wish that kind of brain fail on anybody. But Trump's drug use and his active measures against his own treatment is kind of he has chosen his own path, and far be it from me to dissuade him from it. But there you go. Bowser from Sha-Na-Na. No, Bowser from Sha-Na-Na was a nice person. All right. The big one. The big thing that we're, of course, here to address ladies and germs, ladies and gentlemen, ladies and things, of course, is the Epstein files, the photos released today, the trickle that will become a torrent. I said a little bit ago when they leaked out some of these, or they released them, they didn't leak them, they just released some of them, that as these things came out, these would not be, they were not leading with the worst of the worst, that as stuff came out continually, it would build. If there's any strategy, especially a social media strategy on our side of the aisle, and there is, it would be slowly to trickle these things out and build on what you're seeing, and recognize that closer we get to the midterms, the more serious people will take his connection, because this will keep them from being able to hide, stick their head in the sand and hide from it. So, Bendover has of course covered this. Attracted by the rubber glove with the dildo fingers, and of course a bunch of pictures. I think the standout part of this, besides Trump and the multiple girls picture, which if you haven't seen it, let me bring up the most recent state of affairs in this circumstance. There it is. Open this guy up. That. In the Trumpstein files, you got, there he is. Hold on, let me shrink this down so I can fit it in here. We're obviously familiar with Trump introducing his own children, including Ivanka, to this guy who he's friends with. There's his own mugshot. There's the weird bruise on his hand that he keeps trying to hide. There's the droopy face. There's him in Jizz Bucket. And there's his little drawing that he did with the pubic hair signature. There's Epstein's last shot before he was snuck off to the Bahamas. And then this is the kind of standout picture of Trump with some girls at a gathering. And their faces are blacked out because the Democrats are taking care to assume that they don't want their faces associated with this drop. Even if it had been released in files before, it does not mean it has been, it's going to show up on newspapers and stuff. If they want to see the real faces or whatever, the evidence is there and people can seek it. But that doesn't mean you automatically associate these women with him, especially assuming that most of the women around him are innocent victims, except for Sarah Kellen and all of Ghislaine Maxwell's enablers. So this is the picture that popped up in the Trumpstein files this time. That said, there are two pictures of Bannon and Epstein together, maybe from multiple places. And we'll get into this because I don't know how. I mean, he's got a lot of practice. He must be getting good at it. Benny Johnson is turd polishing for Trump every chance he gets.
Hey, Epstein!
Oh, wait.
Epstein. What about Epstein? Hey,
Okay.
Epstein!
Whoa. This is amazing. This is a scene from Liar, Liar with Trump's face over it.
Anything new on Epstein?
Epstein. What about Epstein?
How about that Epstein?
What's up, guys? It's Benny, House Democrat.
That's new. Trump is not going to like that. Benny's not going to be invited on any more outings with the Department of Homeland Security lady and her, security entourage.
Have been punching themselves directly in the balls over the Epstein release, the scandalous documents proving only that Democrats are a bunch of creeps that were begging Epstein for money constantly, using Epstein effectively as a proxy vote in the House. House Democrats exchanged texts during Trump trial congressional hearings, proving that Epstein
During the 2019 congressional hearings, because he was witness to the crimes. This is obviously before he died in prison while Trump was president.
hated Donald Trump and wanted to destroy his career.
There was exchange checks with Epstein on how to hurt Trump. That's an interesting way to put it. Let's look at what the actual article is. Hold on. New York Post. Epstein texts Trump how to hurt Democrats. Something like that. Yeah, there you go. This would be the actual article. Maybe, wait, hold on. Maybe he reads it. Sometimes I read it and he doesn't read it. I'm going to hold that in debate. Give me a moment and we'll see.
Including hoaxing him into being some type of predator. This is available in all of the Epstein documents that they've released. Obviously, Epstein...
Wait, sorry. Hoaxing Trump into being some kind of a predator? Yeah, all right. This I got to hear.
Liked Trump a lot and used President Trump for leverage. And this is something that was constantly happening with Epstein and his inner circle. He's just a
Trump was in his inner circle. Trump was his inner circle.
really, really creepy and horrible person.
Who Trump was friends with for a quarter century.
But
who Trump said was a lot of fun to be with and likes beautiful women as much as he does, only likes them on the young side. Yeah, creepy.
What has been proven time and time again in these releases is that they have absolutely no incriminating evidence on Donald Trump.
Sure they do. There's a myriad of associations in the same way that, I guess technically speaking, you could say that there's no, other than what some of the girls have said in the civil stuff, because he's dead now and Ghislaine's not giving stuff up. Certainly she wouldn't attack Trump because she would end up the same way in theory. They don't have anything on anybody else for that matter. All the other people, Bill Clinton and all this other, you guys want to incorporate, I'm fine with the whole fucking bunch of them getting thrown out.
Including but not limited to the Democrats redacting names of supposed Trump victims that have said time and time again, like Virginia Roberts, that President Trump did nothing wrong, that they actually have a lot of respect for President Trump. He's one of the few people that tried to stop the madness.
Nope, that's not what she said. And we now know that Epstein himself said that Trump spent hours with her at the house. And it may have just been, and I don't know, call me crazy, that she said that because she was afraid that if he thought she was going to dump on him, he would kill her or her family or others in the same way that she believed perhaps that Epstein had been murdered. When you're accusing the president of the United States of something and the last person who had the goods on him ended up offing himself in theory in his cell, there's a reason for pretending you don't know anything. Like, no, he was the good guy. Same thing with Ghislaine Maxwell. Does anybody actually think she's telling the truth about her interactions with Trump?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can see here a beautiful example of Stacey Plaskett, Democrat from the Virgin Islands, texting Jeffrey Epstein and then saying everything that Epstein told her to say during an anti-Trump committee hearing. Okay.
Well, play it.
Like, the whole thing is just...
Is what he's saying wrong? He's a material witness as well as a criminal. That happens a lot in RICO cases. That happens a lot in mob cases. The question isn't whether she's parroting what he's saying. The question is whether what she's saying is true or not.
Completely fraudulent. All they've done is expose themselves. But now, ladies and gentlemen, they've exposed some new things, finally. This isn't the end of the road for Donald Trump.
Nope. Not even close, fuckhead.
This isn't, they finally got him. The walls are closing in. But they finally have released new things, new photographs and images that are curious for sure, implicating a lot more Democrats, but some newly unreleased photos of President Trump with...
Oh, and the guy who he's been working with off and on to either control MAGA or run his White House for a decade, Steve Bannon. I mean, an inside and outside the circle attack dog for Donald Trump that he's very close to.
Jeffrey Epstein.
And by the way, who is almost singularly responsible for Trump kicking Elon out of the White House and shoving Doge away because there was a battle of the sycophants between Elon Musk and Bannon.
Lock in and look. Every photo from the latest disturbing Epstein files release, Trump, Clinton, and Prince Andrew. Uh-oh. House Democrats today released new images of Jeffrey Epstein from the Jeffrey Epstein estate.
Okay, so he's not reading the exchange text part.
Okay. Including Donald Trump.
We'll check that in a minute.
Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew. The trove of 19 undated photos ranging from glitzy events to journeys on private jets to pornographic material, actually, and sex toys and stuff, include Treasury Secretary Larry
And stuff.
Summers and Bill Gates, former Trump advisor Steve Bannon, director Woody Allen, and billionaire Richard Branson.
Also, real quick, in all the pictures that I've seen so far, and we'll see, in the situation where, all these people are involved, where Epstein's in a picture with somebody, I'm all the ones I've seen so far, the only ones that have women in them are the ones with Trump. And maybe there's the Clinton one where he's taken what looks like a group photo at a group event, which is, again, a wash because that looks like a publicity shot. But the candid shots or the hanging around shots or the party shots, we'll see. We'll see which ones he shows.
The images do not implicate any of the pictured in Epstein's crimes. House Democrats released select photographs from the tranche of over 95,000 that it received.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you sure you want to walk out onto this fucking plank, Benny, for his knowing that there's 94,000 more photos out there ready to be dripped out week after week until the midterms?
95,000 photographs. Geez. So you released 18 of the 95,000? So who's holding the Epstein evidence now? This is crazy. So let's go ahead and look at some of these. Ladies and gentlemen, new photos released from Epstein estates, Trump, Bannon, Clinton. I mean, obviously we knew that him and Trump were friends.
Yeah, for 25 fucking years. Best friends, according to Jeffrey Epstein. And according to Trump.
These aren't, it's not a particular bombshell. It was rumored that Steve Bannon, and Steve's confirmed this to me, it was making a documentary on Jeffrey Epstein. That'd be awesome. Why don't you release that?
You're kidding, right? Yeah, totally, dude. Release the raw footage. You'll love it, Benny. Go through that fucking raw footage. Everything Epstein ever said, what Bannon was talking about, shit Bannon said about Trump while he was there. Go for it, dude. And again, if Bill Clinton or somebody that I think we on our side formerly liked was part of this shit, fuck them. Goodbye. I don't have a problem with that. Nobody in my chat room has a problem with that, except maybe a couple of maggots who are like, need to protect Epstein's legacy on behalf of Trump forever. But the rest of us are fine with those fuckers taking a powder.
Like I say that in good faith. Why not release the documentary?
Gee, because it would ruin Trump even for people like you.
Steve Bannon, it got like creepy. People were zooming in on this photo, like, what the hell's going on here? Exactly.
Well, the theory was it's not a photo, it's a monitor, and that was a still image that he was watching on a small screen, and that he had that on his desk. Although it seems fairly low tech, so I would go with photo too.
Creepy photo, redacted face, like a blotted out, blacked face.
It's not in the frame that way, dipshit. The Democrats did that so you don't have, this woman, whoever she is, doesn't have to carry the weight of there was a prurient picture taken by Jeffrey Epstein, maybe against her will, while she was asleep on his fucking desk.
Yeah, I don't know. Same thing here. I'm not trying to be particularly creepy or presumptuous.
But you can't help it.
But, what's going on in these photos? All right, super. I'm
going to go with, because Donald Trump was friends with this guy for 25 fucking years, I'm going to go with a ballpark. Women were being victimized. And children were being victimized. Both of those. I feel fairly strongly I can take a swing at that pitch.
The guy was a creep. And super weird. What's on this, Mac tower here?
What are you talking about? That's the standard screensaver, asshole. It's now, you know what? Forget it. It's a demonic sign. So it's the same. It's the alien butthole that was found in the desert.
Why have we never seen any of those documents? Again, they're terabytes.
Why have we never seen the documents about what screensaver used, the one that's built into the Mac?
Of information that have never been released. Here he is on set with Woody Allen. Woody Allen, obviously legendary filmmaker and total creep.
Also went to several dinners with Donald Trump. Also, again, on set, say what you will about Woody Allen, and he may have fucked around with some of these girls, and if he did, you know, he deserves an oncoming truck just like the rest of them. But interestingly enough, we'll go just look at Epstein's relationship with Trump compared to everybody else's.
Here we go. The first Trump photo, the Trump condom. Finally, I'm huge.
Yeah, and it's not a flattering picture. What are you doing? Acting out the picture, Benny?
I mean, is there any reference to this? Like, can we like?
No. It's just gonna sit there in your fucking brain laying eggs forever, dummy.
Is this like some party?
Yeah, it's a party. He was partying with Trump, and so much that he made condoms with Trump's name and catchphrase on them. It was just a party. They were partying.
Trump there. Is Jeffrey Epstein just making fun of Donald Trump? Here we
Often he would do both.
have Larry Summers on the famous Lolita Express. This is Obama's Treasury Secretary. Looks like Woody Allen here too. Here's a selfie, a mirror selfie with Steve Bannon. Wasn't counting on that, but we know that Steve Bannon was close with Epstein, or at the very least, he was working with Epstein. Looks like they had some books, but I can't see what books those are.
Yeah, they were just stacking books together, like the Tungus Kablas of 1909.
But yeah, the selfie was
Yes, no human being could stack books like that.
Bannon. Wasn't counting on that. Here's Richard Branson, pretty famous dude. Jeffrey Epstein. They're clearly on one of their private islands. They both have private islands. And here,
Yeah, by the way, Epstein photobombing Richard Branson. But this would be the standout, I think.
we have Donald Trump with a bunch of women. They all have their clothes on. There are plenty of photos of Trump with women. Looks like they're at a party. Some of them have lays on their necks.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know. Trump doesn't have a tie on, so this is clearly the Trump Playboy era.
Ew.
Looks like an early 2000s photograph.
Yeah, you know, when they were still really good friends, even though he said they weren't.
A reminder that Jeffrey Epstein was charged in 2008 for his sex crimes.
No, the investigation into him started in 2005, where Trump dry snitched on him, and he got his sweetheart deal in 2008. And, oh, by the way, Trump hired 3 people associated with Epstein into his Justice Department to protect Epstein long term, until such time as I guess he could be magically gotten rid of.
There's a distinct difference between the Epstein was always a creep, but there's a distinct difference between Jeffrey Epstein being charged as a sex predator and pest versus later
Them hanging out all the fucking time.
Jeffrey Epstein, which is where you get some of the Bill Gates and Obama connections. Here we have Bill Gates and Donald Trump. Clearly, this is like a 1990s photo. Look at Trump's hair, right? You can see like the difference.
When he still had some, you mean?
And they are grinning and laughing in a club. It's got to be like a club or party somewhere in New York or something like some.
Yeah, that's one of the evidentiary, I think, pictures, because I think that woman accused either Epstein and or Trump of groping her.
Club or party. There's a photo of that's Bill Gates right there, sitting on the Lolita Express. It's so creepy. Here's just like a framed photo of you on the Lolita Express. Some other women in semi-compromising positions. I don't know. It looks like she's in a bed. Prince Andrew and Bill Gates. Bill Gates again, flying away. Jeffrey Epstein. Dershowitz. We know Dershowitz
We've seen these pictures before, too. The Dershowitz Harvard shot's been
was a
around.
lawyer. And here's Woody Allen with Steve Bannon. Yikes.
Yeah, I know. I can't tell which is worse for who.
Children's whiteboard here. And here is Donald Trump with unnamed blonde, who's there. Was this on the Jeffrey Epstein
Uh-huh.
plane?
Why? Wait. What do you mean the Jeffrey Epstein plane? Why is it the Lolita Express when it's everybody else, but when Trump is sitting on it, it's the Jeffrey Epstein plane? Isn't that weird? Does that strike anybody as telling? Holy shit.
Here's Bill Clinton grinning from ear to ear. Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, it's in a signed photo from the 90s. By the way, while Trump and Epstein were best fucking friends. And that's a younger Bill Clinton, I would say. That's early. That's when Epstein was trying to help with the ballroom, which is, I guess they're building again, because where are you going to hide the evidence? I guess put it in the foundation.
Ghislaine Maxwell. Looks like right after Clinton got out of the White House, maybe, right? Seems like it. Okay. House Democrats releasing these photos. This is the House Democrats received 95,000 new photos from Jeffrey Epstein's estate. Disturbing images.
Whoops.
This raised more questions about Epstein relationships with powerful men. Here's some of the photos, ladies and gentlemen, that are getting some of the attention here. You have a jawbreaker gag. Terms and conditions apply. This is a.
It's a ball gag jawbreaker. It's a sex. The ball goes in your mouth, but it's the jawbreaker kind. Because it's candy and it makes you salivate, and that's why they wear. Why do I know these things? Because I know everything. That's why.
Like a choke gag.
A choke gag. That's what I would call it. A ball gag, you mean?
You have some creepy sexual devices here.
Maybe he just really likes his champagne flutes clean, and it's really hard to get them.
Like a rubber glove, a ribbed rubber glove, and some other. I don't even know, man. Stuff.
That would be a suction device. A lot of clamps. So I'm guessing I'm going with shackles, manacles over here, or wool manacles. Restraints of different types. A mouth speculum. This thing, I'm fairly certain that's what that is. That forces your mouth open. This is a suction device that distends the vulva. That's just a bunch of fucking rope.
Sex toys. Sex shop toys.
Sex time toys? Sexy time. That's sex time. That's what our statement is.
Photos. Sex shop toys.
Sexy time photos? Is that what is he trying to say? Yeah. I wouldn't even call these sex toys. I would call these sex tools, quite frankly. But listen to him trying to say it.
Sex toys. Sex shop toys. Some of the photos. Sex shop toys.
sex time photos. Sex toys. Toys photos. Sex and time. Time for sex. Sex time. Don't say it.
Redactions have been made by the committee. Oversight Dems release. Now, where are the rest of them? So you release 18 photos. Again, people are zooming in it looks like it's just a very strange photo to have on your desk. What is going on there? Nobody knows. Be nice to know.
I'm going to go with a girl he killed. I'm going to go with that. It's a dead girl. He's got a picture of a dead girl on his desk. And if anybody asks, she's sleeping. Because it's a power move.
Meaning, at some point, you just got to say, out with it, right?
No, at some point you don't. Because you know how Trump didn't barely age at all in the first term because he didn't give a shit, and it's empathy that makes you age in that job. This time around, the trickle of this information and him knowing that this shit is coming out is having the biggest impact on him emotionally, physically. So all the more reason to go, oh, what about this piece? Oh, yeah, there's more where that came from. How about that? On and on and on. And it is clearly working.
Explain some of this stuff. There's so much innuendo There's so much unfounded, you see a photo like this and it looks like bad because everyone's face is blacked out. But then it's like, well, wait a second, why aren't these other people's faces blacked out?
Because they know who they are, because they're working with him and they've been named in documents, in court documents. So that it is already public knowledge that they are participants in or have been excluded as participants in, and everybody else who hasn't been through that or isn't a public figure gets their face redacted, especially if they're a woman, considering who the victims were in this circumstance. You absolute boob.
They're doing like selective redactions, seemingly.
Yes, they are. That's true. There's not a black block over everyone's face, asshole.
And, making things look maybe worse than they are.
Nope. Definitely not. No. What's worse will be when more pictures and more stuff comes out. It's way worse than this. This is just the easy stuff. Just, you know what? This is my wish. Benny, all you assholes on the right in the magosphere, please give full-throated and vibrant defenses of Donald Trump around this stuff. Every time a new picture comes out, I want you to throw your dumb ass in front of the bus for him. For real. Just do it. He's earned your trust. You've told us all that he's the great hope, so do it. Don't fuck around. Stake your ethics, your morals, your life, and your name, and your namesake on defending Trump. Do it. Every time something else comes out. Every time Dershowitz says something fucking stupid that makes like Trump look even worse and make himself look even worse, come to his defense. Asshole. Do it. Otherwise, I call bullshit. The only way you wouldn't do that is if you know what's really going on and you're keeping it from your viewers. You know he's as dirty as we do. And so you're going to do everything you can to try and keep it from coming out. Because you know which side of the bread your butter is on. That's it. You're protecting your meal ticket. You're protecting your side of the aisle. It's politics over predators going to jail. So Benny Johnson, I implore you, throw yourself in front of this stupid fucking bus every time. Defend it with everything you can. Downplay the fact that Donald Trump was Epstein's best friend for 25 fucking years. That Donald Trump only had 2 real friends in his whole fucking life, and both of them are dead pedophiles. Defend him. He's an adjudicated rapist and an unapologetic sexual assaulter, and you're allegedly a family man. Defend him. Stand between him and karma. Stand between him and fate. Sacrifice yourself at the altar of Epstein in that stupid little makeshift shed temple he has on his fucking island. Give it everything you got. Because if you don't, if you stop, if you start backpedaling, you start soft selling this shit, that's when we're going to know. That's when I'm going to know. That's when my audience is going to know. And that's when your audience is going to know that you've seen past the horizon. Somebody has shown you the real shit. And now you got to start backing away from it before the shit hits the fan. But right now, sell it, dum-dum. Sell it.
They already did this in one of the releases. Black latex glove included. Yikes.
Yikes. Yeah, that's that. I don't give a shit about people's sex toys or their sex tools or their sex paraphernalia. It's the underage girl's part, and it's the fact that Donald Trump joked about it in print. You fucking moron.
So there's no descriptions. They've released it with effectively unknown location, unknown plane, some unidentified pilot.
Wait. Sorry. That picture on the wall was Bill Gates in an airplane, and all you could see was the round window next to his head. But you immediately said that's the Lolita Express when it's Bill Gates because it was him and it was a picture of a guy on a plane. That's, you know, it's in this one. It's that shot right there. You're like, yeah, that's Bill Gates on the Lolita Express. There's no explanation that that's what it is. There's no proof that that's what it is. Not that I can see. But you went straight there. But all of a sudden, Trump's on an unknown fucking plane. Trump's not, you know, they're in a Caribbean island setting, and Trump's, you know, how he got there, where that picture was taken. You know, Bill Clinton is clearly engaging in this awful, and he's surrounded by adults in all these pictures, at least.
Unknown location. So they're just releasing random photos. Yeah. The American people want an explanation of what Epstein was and what
he was Trump's best friend. Trump was a sycophant, a hanger-on of Jeffrey Epstein. He admired his lifestyle, and he wanted to emulate it. He was a barnacle. When Epstein was through with these girls, when they aged out of his window of predatory behavior and turned 18, Trump moved in. That's what the check for a depreciated woman was all about. Trump was all up in Epstein's sloppy seconds. He liked the fact that Epstein would train these underage girls to be like open to predators like him. That's what was going on. Trump basically bragged about it for years, and Epstein certainly talked about it.
His operation was. I don't think that the Trump administration is served by trying to cover up or conceal anything.
Yeah, they are. Yes, they are. Dude, you started this fucking video with a picture of Trump's face over Jim Carrey's from a clip from Liar, Liar, where he's trying to avoid anyone asking him questions about the Epstein files and is having a panic attack. You think Trump accepts that shit from the MAGA-sphere? You think the maggots in the media are allowed to treat him like that? But he has to let it slide. You know why? Because whatever's in the files is worse.
Especially at this point, just out with it. Just out with it.
Nope. Dude, no. No. Be careful what you wish for, shithead. If it was that simple, if he could get it behind him, he wouldn't have done it with there's nothing really there anyways. No, he killed himself and there's no other co-conspirators. There's no evidence of any other crimes. Game, set, match in July with that stupid fucking DOJ memo. They would have just dumped the shit and moved on. Let everybody comb through it like the fucking Zapruder film. And the little corners would have broken out and griped about it. But it would be over. The reason he's not releasing it is no matter what is happening to his name and his poll numbers and and the maggots that supported him from MTG to the QAnons and all that crowd, no matter how much they turn on him over this shit, if they saw what was in the real files, it's worse than that. That's why.
Every single release of every single like little innuendo and release and like drip, 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 like they're trying to make it look worse for Trump.
It does look worse. It's almost like they're teasing him to call their bluff. Wouldn't it be easy if this is the worst of the worst, right? If everything in these files is kind of like this stuff and he feels like he could bullshit his way past it, why not? Why not beat him to the punch? Master media manipulator that he is.
Got nothing on. I just let it go. Yep.
Yeah, I just let it go. Well, that's because you're stupid enough to think that there's not incriminating fucking video and pictures in this stuff, stupid.
It's your boy Benny. Like, share, and subscribe.
It's your boy Benny. Shut the fuck up. God damn. There is no way around it for them. There just isn't. Now, what's the second fallback amongst this. By the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Megaworldwiide, the greatest live stream in the history of live streams. Hit that like, share the show, etc., etc., etc. Tucker Carlson was on Theo Von Dutch the other day, and like, I don't know, a couple days ago, maybe, whatever. And there are only two escape plans from the Epstein story. One is it's deep state manufactured shit, and Trump's an innocent victim or an FBI agent, and he was protecting, people, and he was always the enemy of them, and he was just, this is what it took for him to get inside, and he was like a fucking undercover cop in Sons of Anarchy. Or the devil is behind this. It's good and evil. Satan is making everyone do this, and Trump was as susceptible to this as anybody else. And that's where Tuckums Carlson goes in this. And I'm sure, Theo Von, his full name, Theology Von Dutch, knows enough about religion and religious philosophy to, poke holes in that, or at least kick the tires.
But that's the whole point of America, is that we have like
Sorry, what's the whole point of America?
standards of decency, fair.
Sorry. Then why would you ever need someone like Donald Trump to get Republican priorities passed?
Fairness. I love that you use that word, because that is the core of it. It's fairness.
Right. Like affirmative action and DEI standards after people have been disenfranchised for a long time to let people finally get a toehold on society where they had been denied it before. You mean that kind of fairness? Of course not.
Justice is overused. Fairness is underused. It's just a child knows what's fair. If his brother's getting 3 Oreos.
Okay, by the way, a child knows this, a kid knows this, a child, whatever. Whenever they use that reference, this is like a dissociative condescension. What they're doing is appealing to the simpletons in their audience by going, you're okay for being a simpleton.
And he's getting
To buy my simple bullshit, which doesn't stand up to scrutiny.
one that's just unfair. He doesn't have a degree in economics. He just feels it. He knows it. The sense of fairness is innate. Dogs have it because it's part of the natural fabric. It's organic. And
Yes, because dogs never bark at friendly people and allow awful people into the yard. They never bark at the wrong car. They never jerk their owner's arm with the leash and make them fall down because they're chasing a random fucking rabbit that runs across the street. Yeah, it's innate.
we are a fair country. And the rich man gets the same treatment in the justice system as the poor man.
That's adorable.
It doesn't matter where you're from. You're both citizens and you're both equal because you're both created by God. That's our whole system in one sentence. And that
That's also multiple sentences, I'm just saying.
is being eroded because the people who run our system
Kash Patel, Bongholio, Pam Bondi, Donald Trump.
agree with Smotrich and every other third world dictator. These people are damned by their birth, whatever they are. That's what
Yeah, that's exactly what Trump believes about third world countries and poor people and these people who work in mines. I could put them in a penthouse in New York and they would rather be 10,000 feet under the ground because that's what they were born to do. They're basically mole people.
affirmative action is. It's like, no, I don't like the way your parents looked. You don't get the job. What? That's what we hated about the Nazis, what we hated about segregation, which
Yeah, we didn't hate the fact that there was affirmative action in Germany. That wasn't the hill to die on.
want to say was evil. Segregation was evil. Why? Because it punished some people and rewarded others on the basis of things they couldn't control, their skin color.
Yeah, and we'd had mixed babies a lot sooner too, which are pretty cute, a lot of them. To be
There are all
honest with
kinds
you.
of other effects, but like fairness is what we need to preserve. Why is Epstein infuriating? Because it's unfair. That's why. Not because he molested kids or his
No, that's not why.
buddies molested kids. It's
No, that's not. That's the thing. It's just the unfairness of the whole thing.
because the president of Harvard was involved in it.
The president of the United States was involved, you fucking moron.
Alan Dershowitz, all these famous people.
Donald Trump.
Prince retard, whatever the guy in Great Britain, the kind of retarded looking prince.
Yeah,
the
that
most
guy is.
Bill Gates,
Donald Trump.
all the most powerful people in the world got away with it.
Notice how he just does not mention Trump, who is the single most consistent figure in Epstein's life outside of Ghislaine Maxwell.
And there's tons of child molestation in America but there's the expectation that they'll be punished for doing it. These people we know in our hearts will never be punished because they're
Donald Trump is letting them get away with it?
rich.
Because no, not because they're rich. Because Donald Trump wants their money. That's not. There are a lot of rich people.
We don't know.
That's unfair.
We don't know for sure that they molested children, though.
We don't know for sure, but we know that there's never been a real inquiry into it because
Pam Bondi refused to look into it after that sweetheart deal, and Trump hired Jim Acosta to be his labor secretary, the guy who gave Epstein the sweetheart deal in the first place. So there was definitely a signal that we will reward everyone that protects Trump from the Epstein karma that's coming his way, and we will punish anybody who tries to bring it to him, including Epstein himself, in theory. Whoops, what happened there?
and rich. That we can say for sure, and that's still happening.
Okay, well, that I'll say is that, yeah, there's obvious that there's not a, it feels like there's a unfair investigation that's, or a lack of investigation, or it's just this.
Yeah, wait, who's heading, you know what, it'd be interesting if we had, like, Theo, if you thought about this for a second, like, because this crime happened in multiple states, you wouldn't just want to, like a state AG to handle it. Say we had a federal investigative force that all gathered together in like a bureau, and the people that, you know, the guy you supported for the presidency, Donald Trump, could appoint people to head that federal investigative bureau to look into this and clear it up and get to the bottom of it. I mean, under Biden, they managed to prosecute Ghislaine Maxwell and move forward with a change in the law in a bunch of areas, especially Democratic cities and Democratic states, where women who'd been, victims could still file charges even if the statute of limitations run out because they were, underage at the time and had no recourse, no ability, and the person who, molested them was someone that was either rich and or powerful. Who would you even go to in this situation? Does Trump even have their number?
Lie that keeps getting remodeled. It's this clay of a lie that keeps getting remodeled and put into the museum.
Remolded.
In front of us all the time.
But go to all your neighbors on the street and ask them.
Oh, everybody thinks something happened.
No, but ask them, like, if your name popped up as like a visitor to Pedo Island 11 times, do you think you would like be protected in the way that all these other people have been protected? Of course not. You have no money and power.
Of course they would. Or they wouldn't have been invited in the first place. Yeah, that's the circle of people he invited down there. He wasn't handing out fucking golden tickets to regular pervs out in the fucking country. He wasn't trolling fucking truck stops looking for skeezy dudes to fuck underage girls on his island like, hey, it's your lucky day, my man. You had to be in that circle. You had to be at Trump's wealth/debt level.
Dershowitz had a fast pass, I think, if anybody had one.
That guy's unbelievable.
I don't know, but I don't know anything.
Yeah, what the one thing you say about Dershowitz is no president would hire him to.
That's just allegedly.
And the Epstein thing, I've never understood what the justification for keeping that information secret. Epstein was murdered in prison. Okay.
I disagree. I think he's still alive. If we're just going to go full conspiracy theory, I think he escaped. I think it cost him $1 billion, maybe $500 million. The other half was just a tip of his $10 billion wealth. Sock away 5 of it, pay off somebody. The other, it gets forfeited or sucked up to make sure people think you're really gone. And then, fake your own death and have them roll you out of there with a fucking bag over your face so nobody sees you laughing.
I know a lot about it. I'm not just throwing that out there. Epstein was murdered in prison.
Well, they put him with a cellmate that was kind of a crazy, former police officer, right?
Yeah, a former police officer killed a number of drug dealers. I'm not saying that guy did it, but I'm saying, well, I asked Bureau of Prisons because I learned all this stuff about it because I know Epstein's brother, Mark, well. And
yes, very well, which isn't hinky at all.
And I never expected to go down this rabbit hole at all. The guy called me like a week after his brother was killed.
Mark did?
Yeah. And so, yeah.
Mark. Yeah, Mark. We all call him Mark. That's what you do.
literally sitting in my backyard in Maine, and he called me, and I don't know how he got my cell, and it ended up this
Like you don't know.
years long
Believe me, you have mutual friends.
thing. It's not interesting, and I won't bore you with.
Yes, it is interesting that you and Mark Epstein were talking for a fucking year.
But the bottom line is, Jeff Epstein was murdered in
Oh, Jeff. He's Jeff now. All right. Like Dr. J to his friends? You're just calling him Jeff now.
federal lockup in Manhattan in the secure unit. I think there were only 16 men on the unit, and I think only 14
Yeah, fewer witnesses to see you escape.
there that night. I may have that slightly wrong, but it's very small, and it's the most secure federal lockup in the United States, and he got murdered in it.
Also, that's not true. It is not the most secure. The Supermax prisons are the most secure federal lockups. By far. They're not in a downtown area where there's traffic on every fucking corner. There aren't, bridge buildings that, are less than 100 feet that you could create a temporary bridge between those buildings and blow a hole in the fucking wall and escape somebody if you wanted to. It's not in a metropolitan area. They're out in the middle of the fucking desert. Even if you do escape, you're coyote bait.
So that raises all kinds of obvious questions, like who has the power to do that? So
Yeah, and who gave Mark Epstein your phone number and was like, yeah, call Tucker. He'll understand.
it's a big deal. And then the attorney general at the time helped cover it up. And I know him. And
Yeah, you know him. Maybe that's how you got the fucking number.
Bill Barr. So I say that, and he's like, oh, I'm going to sue you. And I said, go ahead and sue me. I hope you will. And what's the answer? Like, why don't you answer? He never will. Well, it turns out, and this does make you crazy, that his father, Donald Barr, is the guy who started Epstein's career.
Yeah, look, you notice how he's talking about this shit like it's new information? Like the rest of us weren't pointing this shit out for years before Trump got in the first fucking time? That Trump was friends with this guy and that's the circle he was operating in. And then he puts Bill Barr in and everybody's like, of course he is. It's not shocking at all that Trump hired Bill Barr to protect himself from the Epstein-related shit any more than Bill Barr personally and somebody was comfortable giving your cell phone to Mark Epstein. You're like...
Gave him his first job for which he was not qualified, and then got him his second job at Bear Stearns for which he was definitely unqualified. What is that?
It's assistance in money laundering, racketeering, arms trading, the violent underbelly of the low-res FinSec sector that Donald Trump Jr. is engaged in right now.
CIA guy, OSS guy. But anyway, the point is that question of how an American citizen, kid toucher or not, could get murdered in federal lockup in our biggest city. Like, holy shit, that should scare everybody. And then
Well, it did. That's one of the reasons why people came out and voted for Joe Biden and got Trump the fuck out of there last time.
Attorney General of the United States is covering it up. He admitted, this is the Attorney General when Epstein was murdered, said, I told everyone around me, we need to make sure the country believes this was a suicide. It's like you haven't even done a freaking investigation. You're the chief law enforcement officer and you're telling me the outcome before you even look into it?
How do you know that?
Because he admitted it in his autobiography. And so I'm not
One moment, please. Let's see. This is it's an interview that he did. Let's see. Bill Barr's damning self-serving screed. Barr's best view is one of these songs. Performs on maybe later. At times, let's see. Okay, here you go. This is the book is informative to a point. As expected, Barr omits relevant facts and engages in score settling. It's a first-person tell-all after all. Barr records the suicide in federal custody of Jeffrey Epstein, predator and friend of Trump and Clinton. He makes no mention of the fact that his own father, Donald Barr, gave Epstein one of his first jobs as a high school math teacher at Dalton School, Tony Manhattan establishment. Even when former students have said Epstein creeped out young women. Barr was Attorney General the first time under George W. Bush, the Rackgate, blah, blah, blah. Let's see. Read the statement Metropolitan. States been held to their bail. Multimedia reports he died by suicide. FBI investigating the. And Attorney General William Barr said he is also open to investigation by the Department of Justice. Inspector General was appalled by the death. Epstein death raises serious questions that must be answered, Barr said. Lawyers for his victims said this. We are hopeful the government will continue to investigate. Okay, this is his statement maybe from then. I was appalled. This is the official statement Saturday, August 10th, 2019, when Epstein died. I was appalled to learn Jeffrey Epstein was found dead early this morning from an apparent suicide while in federal custody. Mr. Epstein's death raises serious questions that must be answered in addition to the FBI's investigation. I have consulted with the Inspector General, who is opening an investigation into the circumstances of Mr. Epstein's death. So it says apparent suicide, but he says we're going to investigate into the circumstances of his death. So I don't know what the fuck he's referencing in his book where he says it. He's just asserting that.
At any of this stuff, okay? So I'm telling me the outcome before you even look into it.
How do you know that?
Because he admitted it in his autobiography. And so I'm not guessing at any of this stuff, okay? So I
also, I don't, again, if you look at what he wrote, obviously the autobiography came years after Epstein's death and is retrospective and stuff, so I'm open to him reading it properly or misreading it, but the reality is that the actual statement that day didn't seem at all like he was like, we've got to convince people that this was a suicide.
Call Bureau of Prisons and I'm like, I want the names of the inmates who are serving on this block, because clearly nobody got in or out of the block. It's
right. Well, it also
why clearly? No, we got one camera and you can't see the stairs.
It was a question to our prison system. It's like, how would you not know? Like, obviously, this is the guy you have to protect.
They did it on purpose, and he was murdered clearly by another inmate. And there is so much. I mean, I did like an hour on this.
A whole hour? Shit. And by another inmate, not by a guard or an assassin sent in or somebody dressed like an inmate?
Anyone interested can look it up.
Which inmate did it? I think that would help.
But I'm not a conspiracy nut at all. I've been a journalist my whole life. I've often been wrong, but I've always been attentive to what I believe the facts to be. I think
gibberish.
It really matters whether you're accurate. And I've tried to be.
All right. Barr's statement on Epstein's death. Perfect storm of screw-ups. Yeah, that's exactly what he said in the thing. So they're either on Theo Von's thing, they're fact-checking him. Ruled a suicide. Barr has repeatedly stated that he saw nothing to undercut the medical examiner's finding. He said there was a perfect storm of screw-ups. Initial suspicion. Barr acknowledged that he initially had his own suspicions given the high-profile nature and the irregularities. But personal review of the evidence, including security footage, led him to conclude it was suicide. This is the same thing fucking Bongholio and Patel said afterwards, too. They each got their own hostage video out of this. He ordered an investigation, and then in a September 2025 deposition with the House Oversight Committee, Barr reiterated the long-held belief that it was undoubtedly suicide.
So it was not a perfect storm of screw-ups. They never did the investigation into how this guy died. They redressed him in clothes that he wasn't wearing when he died for pictures in the hospital infirmary. All the records of what happened to his body are gone. And
right, that's why I think he's still alive.
We cannot get, and I tried directly by calling the Attorney General's office. I want a list of the names of the inmates. It's publicly available. They're convicted felons, dude. Yeah. This is not secret information. It's on national.
No, they're not. Some of the people there might have been awaiting trial. Some of them might have been transferred. Some of them might have been material witnesses for bigger mob cases and stuff. It's that kind of a building. And by the way, that's how you would do it. If you were going to send somebody in to kill him, you'd send somebody in that was a material witness who's not going to go through a trial. you'd have them like, we need to hold this person here because for their own safety. And we know we're going to move this guy here eventually, so we'll put them in there, and we're going to give them a sweetheart deal, give them a witness relocation, and this is one of the favors they do for us, right? That's how you would do it as well.
Security information. Why can't you tell me that? They allowed him to be murdered in federal lockup. So leave it all.
Who's they? Barr, Trump, Acosta.
The pedo island stuff out of it.
No, keep that. Because, by the way, first of all, you have no proof that Trump never went. He has a property in St. Thomas. There was a boat dock that Epstein owned in St. Thomas that ferried people to and from the island who, for people who didn't want to fly to the island or didn't want records of them flying to the island, they flew to St. Thomas instead and took a boat or a helicopter over, which there were, they just guaranteed there would be no records of that travel. That's how a lot of them went there, especially when the scrutiny rose. So no, I'm not going to put it aside. Trump has property in St. Thomas. There's a Trump hotel down there. And oddly enough, after he visits all these other places, there's no record of him visiting that place at all. You don't think that's weird? He'll go visit properties in the fucking Middle East, but there's no record of him going to St. Thomas? That seems even weirder. That's like coming across a crime scene that's been scrubbed clean.
And just ask yourself, how can we continue to live in a country where a high-profile inmate...
Oh, you can't move. Whatever it is, whatever your concerns are, clearly they're right. And Tucker, you should fuck off. I recommend moving to Russia and don't play it safe. Don't live in Moscow or St. Petersburg. Pick a suburb out someplace where they don't have any plumbing. It'll be safer there for you all around.
...and be murdered in our prison system by who's powerful enough to do that.
The president of the United States, who was his running buddy for 25 years and was afraid he would be outed by him, you asshole.
Right.
And so,
like, neither one of them are going to come to the conclusion that Trump was president when this shit happened. Both of them are just going to fucking dodge this. Like, I know why Tucker's doing it. This is a strategy. But Theo Von, I know he plays dumb all the time. That's part of the shtick. You can't be this fucking dumb, Theo. You can't be this fucking dumb. Because the only other answer, you're either that fucking blind to it because you don't give a fuck, because this is a big story, and you have a lot of the players on your fucking podcast. So you're welcoming a bunch of these fuckers through, and you're not digging any deeper. That's an active fucking choice. You are creating intentional blind spots. That's an ethical failing on your part. Or you're an active participant by protecting it. But you don't, neither one of you, are you going to bring up the fact that Trump was his best fucking friend?
These are not only legitimate questions, they're essential questions.
Right, along with who spent the most time with him? Ghislaine Maxwell and who else?
And we're mad at the people asking them?
That's the weirdest thing.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm trying to get...
No, that's one of the crazy...
You're not asking. You're not. You're literally stopping short of the only question that fucking matters. Who had the power to either kill or help Epstein escape? The president of the United States. Did he have foreknowledge of this guy and awareness and a reason to protect him? Of course he did.
Things right now, it feels...
And more evidence is going to come out all the time of just how connected they are. So how long can you play this fucking dumb?
Like the people you're supposed to be able to ask, you can't, we're the weird people now for asking questions.
You're not asking any questions, asshat. Stop it. Stop. Shut the fuck up. Stop. You're not asking questions. You're pretending to ask peripheral questions to avoid the main question, which is who benefits the most and who was singularly closer to this man than anyone else. Donald Trump and the lady that Donald Trump moved from a maximum security prison to a fucking Club Fed where she can have puppy yoga if she just keeps her fucking mouth shut. How? He wished her well from the fucking podium. He knew she's got the goods. The only reason she's alive is he's fairly certain that there's a dead man switch that includes her.
It's like you get labeled as the weird guy for asking questions.
No, he doesn't. He gets labeled as the weird guy because I'm fairly certain it's because of his proclivities, I guess. What is that the word we're gonna look for?
I like wood. Deeper and longer.
He's being called that because he ends up with scratches all over his body. He comes in the middle of the night after he got out of bed and left his wife there and he was gone for a period of time. He comes back with scratches all over him and says he was wrestling with a fucking demon and not a dude at a truck stop in a bathroom.
They just
Don't let them into your head.
Don't let them into your head. Why? Why? Are you afraid they'll get lost roaming around in the dark in his empty fucking dome? Holy shit. How long can you dodge this shit as it continues to eke out? Now, this is something they're all, carrying around. And there are parallel tracks right now, obviously, with the Charlie Kirk stuff. This is fucking grotesque and hilarious as well. Hit the like, share the show. It's Hal Sparks Megaworldwiide. Rusty Trombone did that gaggle with Candace Owens. They refused to answer this question. Unseen footage with a big stamp on it. And the title of this is exclusive. Why won't they acknowledge this? ? Candace opens up about Charlie Kirk assassination. Okay, there's nothing exclusive about doing that. She does it every day on her fucking show. She's not giving new information that she just found another source. Lord almighty.
So I was not having the same experience as everybody else with the Charlie Kirk assassination. Everyone felt moved by it, but for me, it was obviously another layer of it because I knew him, and that's why I had to go away for a couple of weeks to Wyoming to just kind of feel okay, breathe some air, and hike some mountains, and
get away from the juice boxes, I guess. Is that where we're going?
When I came back, I was kind of surprised by how the internet was really angry about the memorial, right? They were like, this is fake, and da-da-da-da. And I actually went back.
Well, the internet wasn't necessarily. I mean, I'm sure there was a spectrum of emotions, but I'm guessing it was your group. Again, you're being led around by this is audience capture. You're being led around by a subset of a subset of a subset of people who are looking for another reason to hate Jews or blame it on Israel or fabricate some sort of deep state conspiracy where there is none.
I realized, I kind of recognized what it was, is there was an element to that felt like political pageantry. You know what I mean? Like, why is Susie Wiles at Charlie? Like, she didn't know Charlie Kirk. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Because Trump was there, shithead. And she goes everywhere with him because she's in charge of telling Walt Nauta when to change Trump's fucking diaper. Because she's actually running the president's life. That's why Susie Wiles was there, you dipshit.
Here. And Christianity is, I think it felt like, and if everyone coming out, and Charlie loved the Lord, and it's like, do you love the Lord? Like, do you love the Lord when you're saying the story? And here's what turning point's going to be, or is this now becoming a politicized faith, right?
It always was. It's a political action committee, you asshole. It was always politicized faith. That's its defining characteristic. What do you think it was? A fucking charity? You think these were the people who were concerned with loaves and fishes and tending to the meek and the poor? Get the fuck out of here. It was specifically a pseudo-religious claptrap sold as under a political veil. And for real, like, she didn't think that the turning point was turning people to Jesus, does she? Really? Really?
What Christianity is, getting to your last point, is it's brokenness. Like, it's brokenness. It is anger at God.
Jesus.
at moments.
What?
I did not understand why Charlie was. I had to contend.
Sorry, no, Christianity is not brokenness and anger at God. It is, in theory, the way that you get from brokenness and anger with God to a healing and an understanding, and forgiveness. Forgive them, Father, for they know not what they do. Literally something he said while he was being crucified, which is the singular act that makes him the Messiah, asshole.
With God, and I had to get on the phone with the priest and cry and be angry and feel that sort of that wrath of man. We aren't able to figure it out that easily and be like, well, this is what God wanted, and I think that maybe some of that response that people had made me realize that was what was missing. It was like,
or maybe you're an asshole on a pineapple farm about to sip some Kool-Aid. And maybe you have to question your own psyche to see if you're truly absorbing the teachings that you believe you're absorbing, or if you're just blazingly, stunningly, ridiculously full of shit.
no, but we're just human, right? And we are right to feel angry and not understand why this happened, and to go through those emotions and to seek that guidance from, as I needed to, from a priest. I still don't understand it fully. I'm still trying to work through why Charlie had to go.
See what do you when you I've
See, the reason I've seized on Christianity is because it's really hard for a jury to assume that a Christian is all rapey. I hope. That's,
seen footage of him saying, well, it's obviously a viral clip where he said, well, what I do think is that all Jews should come to Jesus, they should all convert. Do you think that he...
Yeah, he's the only guy who's ever said that, so they had to kill him.
He was moving more in the direction of explicitly declaring the supreme power is Christ, and therefore any political movement or leader is temporary, and the kind of reverence and worship that cultish political leaders have always attracted, whether that's Barack Obama or Donald Trump,
Nope.
is not really they're just administrators. They're just administrators, really.
Yeah, right. And largely, and as I've been getting to with,
By the way, that was gobbledygook, just for the record. That was just a mishmash of him laying his own, intellectual and spiritual gaps on other fucking people. And it's also incredibly condescending to believers and non-believers alike.
His Calvary Church, and they were kind of what stepped in. And somebody said to me at the White House, was like, how when did Turning Point become this faith organization? Like, when you and Charlie were going through, you were talking about free markets and capitalism, and all we saw were these pastors coming out saying, and I'm like, it wasn't. It actually wasn't. This was actually an infiltration. And when you start looking into these pastors and how scandalized they are.
Whoa, hold on. Wait. This is all new. This is a new direction. Sorry. So Turning Points USA he wasn't killed by the juice boxes now. He was infiltrated by a bunch of evangelical preachers who were trying to turn Turning Points into a religious movement instead of a political movement. And they were, what were they forcing him to say shit like this? And they killed him? I guess at some point it doesn't matter. I guess at some point you could just say whoever did it. You know what I mean? At this point, I don't know why she just doesn't go straight to, Lutheran space lasers.
Or you go, okay, well, the obvious thing to hijack if you're the government and you are at war with faith, you need to politicize faith. You need to get in there. You need to have people.
Sorry, and so he was killed while Donald Trump was president because the government was politicizing faith. And they needed to take over it? Oh, because Trump is a false idol, I guess? Is that where you're going? Say it! Say it!
I look at these sermons and so many pastors are getting up and they're talking about Tucker Carlson. I'm like, what goes on at these? If my priest got up and started speaking about Tucker Carlson, I would leave. I can go home and watch Fox News. I can go home and watch CNN. I don't need to drive to a cathedral to listen about your opinions on Trump. And that's kind of been...
Yeah, you shouldn't have that problem if they're for him. Now that they're like, wait a minute, this guy's a kid fucker. That now she doesn't want to hear it.
Kind of the onion that we've been peeling back is when did this kind of hijacked faith thing start to happen in America where it became...
No. You don't get to lay this off on America. When did it start happening in the Republican Party and in the conservative movement? Clean up your own fucking house. Pull the fucking tree out of your own eye before you go after the splinter in someone else's. When did it start with you assholes?
Became so political when pastors were vying for political power. I mean, it's not.
Yeah, when did that start?
To say that.
I think, what are you going to go with? The Roman era?
There is this separation between church and state. I actually don't think there is.
Well, then what difference does it make? Why don't you just answer which came first, the chicken and the egg, by shoving the egg back in the chicken and calling it a fucking day? What do you mean? If there's no difference, then how do you even start a political movement talking about free market capitalism and all that stuff without infusing it with religion if you don't think they're separate, you fucking weirdo?
Right. I actually think that what is the story of Christ? Like it was the most politicized event, right? That was the whole point, is politics, and there was constantly kind of this clash.
You're an idiot.
But what we're seeing now is definitely cultish. It is not faithful at all, and I hope that the consequence will be that it will pull people into the Orthodox and Catholic direction.
When I was I did a couple of Turning Points events, and I'm scheduled to do one in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And obviously I'm like, I wonder what's going to happen. I wonder if
if they're going to bring out a hologram of Charlie Kirk with an AI of every video he's ever done, and you can talk to it. I guarantee that it's in the works. I guarantee it.
Put out this content and this content does well, am I going to get a phone call? Because this world seems like it fragments and fractures almost endlessly and infinitely now.
Why? Because you can't hold your shit together?
And what like my feeling is like
Look, wait, hold on. Think for a second what you just heard this prick say. That he thinks the world is fracturing into infinite splinters of reality because his viewership on Rumble has taken a dump and the leader of Turning Points USA was killed. He didn't give a shit when some Democrats were shot in fucking Minnesota. That wasn't infinite fracturing. Right? He didn't care about the fireman that was killed in Butler, just that Trump's ear got nicked by a piece of glass from his teleprompter. There's your infinite, fracturing.
Figure of Christ, while he was not the militaristic lineage of David, Messiah anticipated by the Pharisaic class. Plainly, it says in Old Testament scripture, government.
Right, which basically Jesus told you to cast out.
On his shoulders. And when you say, give to Caesar what is Caesar, have the material, have that stuff. But the real kingdom, the kingdom that you have access to, that is the supreme kingdom. And as soon as you make that claim, I think what flows out of that is personal sovereignty under God, community sovereignty under God, family sovereignty under God. Why should we have centralized systems of control and power?
Right. Who is it to say it's rape? If you decided it isn't rape, who cares if she says it is? When you've got sovereign control over yourself as you see God directing you, who says we should have these juries and DAs telling us how to behave?
That don't like us, that lie to us, that blackmail and manipulate us, and even the leaders that they claim.
Sorry, how do they blackmail you?
Are authentic, are actually compromised individuals with compromised goals, and maybe even diabolical and demonic goals, to the earlier part of our conversation.
Yeah, anyways, you were talking about Trump. Please go on.
And so with Turning Point, what I wonder in all earnestness is that something seismic happened.
Seismic?
That's extraordinary, and it would be difficult in the light of history and in the light of events since the death of Charlie to suggest, what it was is some nutty kid who was trans just went, do you know what? One of the things I saw is, in addition to your content, I just saw some kind of military vet breaking down and putting together one of those guns and putting it, and he goes, there's no way.
Yeah, it's just it's the common sense element too. It's so offensive.
Yeah. And then when you find yourself and
it didn't take long, did it? He went straight from, fuck it, give unto Caesar what is Caesar's, and we deal with our own sovereignty under the Lord, and, how dare people tell him. Anyways, I was watching a YouTube video about a guy who tried to break down a gun, and he couldn't do it. So it can't be done. It can't. Even though the guy never broke down the gun. He stuffed it down his pants leg and jumped off the roof. But whatever.
You think, oh my God, am I once again believing that, me, no. Because the reason I've not been vaccinated is because by the time that pandemic came around I was, oh yeah, that's the government. Don't trust them.
Right, exactly.
Right, so the first thing you're told, dismiss that out of hand as total bullshit. So I'm...
Unless it's told to you by a guy in a big pointy hat with a cane with a bell on the end of it and a purse full of incense, waggling it around. And I waggled my wig.
But what I'm trying, because I suppose, of my own attachments, my own fears probably, I'm
Probably.
like, well, maybe...
What, fear of going to jail for sexual assault? I'm kidding, you don't have that.
Because also, by the way, sometimes, Candice, but this doesn't stop it being possible. Sometimes the claim is so big that it's like, oh, fuck, if that... see with, the example, because I suppose the reason I keep referring to it is because I know...
All right, sorry. Real quick, where he's going with this, as best as I can understand. Sometimes the line is so big from the government that it's an absolute lie. It's Area 51, there are no UFOs, it's that kind of thing. And so there must be UFOs, because why would they bother to lie so hard about this and talk so much about it if the other side wasn't true, right? And on the other side, what if what they say is true, and it's so big, they say it right to your face, but you can't believe it because it seems impossible. It's so big. So I guess you can just pick and choose. The fucking plandemic to one is the pandemic to another, and both of them are right.
More about it, and it was probably the pivotal moment in my own sense of, oh wow, I'm in the middle, I'm being attacked.
You're not in the middle. You're not being attacked. You aren't in the middle. You fucking egomaniac. You douchebag. You asshole. You fuckface. You're not being attacked. Women are defending themselves after the fact because they had no power to defend themselves at the time you attacked them.
Is COVID. That you can't ever have the reckoning for the pandemic period that's warranted because...
because the guy who started Operation Warp Speed is still the president right now? Is that why? Sorry, is that why? The guy who said, whatever you're doing, rush it. Make sure nobody feels comfortable with these things, even if they could. Just make sure that a whole section of the populace is going to be afraid of this because we're rushing it, and call it Operation Warp Speed because you're a fucking moron.
If you did, you'd have to say they were lying to us about those vaccines. They were lying about the lockdowns. They were lying about the masks. They were involved in the creation of the actual disease in its first place. If that's even the truest version of it, there might be even worse versions of it than that.
What, that they made you stay inside and wear a mask and get inoculated against a disease that didn't even exist? What's worse than that? That it was a real disease, that they weren't a part in it, that they made you get masked, that you're here. You know what's worse than all that? You're so fucking stupid, you wouldn't take normal precautions in a pandemic. Because honestly, this sounds like one of these assholes who's like, I'm staying in my house, man. I know the hurricane's coming. We waited it out before. You're like, dude, this is a Category 5. You're fucked. It's 8 miles away. You're gonna die. Hey, man.
The person that you put at the center of it,
Donald Trump.
Tony Fauci, is involved in its construction.
Right. Nope, he's not at the center of it. He's not. He's a peripheral character. Donald Trump is in the center of it. He's the director of policy. If they said something to him, he could have said no.
Now, it's so bad. It's like, if you would go, right, okay, well, let's work it out then. It's the same as any of the big ones, 9/11, JFK, whatever.
That's the point. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's all the same thing.
Yeah, they're all the same thing. They're all, anywhere there's a gap, we just spackle that gap shut with whoever our enemy is at the time.
It's right.
Wow.
It's all the same thing. The people that are orchestrating the thing are then telling you that you need to run to them for the solution to the thing that happened.
Wow.
And I just...
Oh, you mean like Trump, the guy who says he would handle it better than anyone, and Xi Jinping was handling it like a professional, and you trust him implicitly, and you respond to a bunch of Americans being in food lines by selling the Chinese the largest order of beef, pork, corn, and soybeans in our nation's history?
Cannot get on board with TPUSA faith. I can't do it.
And I suppose the thing is with any of the other examples.
She's literally laughing at Charlie Kirk's organization for its religious beliefs. A couple months after he got his fucking neck blown open.
Aside from Charlie Kirk at the moment, but
Miami Rocker says Trump is the Antichrist. No, he is not. The Antichrist, at least as far as my reading, will be actually charming to the majority of people in the world and will not repel even the majority of his own followers at this point in his second term. Trump is the Timu Antichrist.
Is
He's the cardboard cutout of the Antichrist you can get a picture with on Hollywood Boulevard.
that if you were to give it the attention that it deserved and the justice warranted, say with JFK, murder, COVID and what happened, you'd have to dismantle all these institutions.
Yeah, there'd be a revolution. Literally
There'd be a revolution.
No, you wouldn't. No, there wouldn't. No, you wouldn't. Because those things only work if good people think they're doing the right thing. And those people all they would have to be is told, you were protecting something, that was a lie, this is the real information, and they'd go, oh shit, well I was trying to protect the country and didn't realize I was protecting these people. I was given this information, I was on a need to know. That's how 9/11 would have to work. That's how JFK assassination would have to work for it to be a giant conspiracy, is a bunch of good people doing what they thought was right because they were working with limited information. Which means, given more information, they would all go, oh, well, fuck that then. That was the guy, he told me to say that. Right? There's not or you have to believe that like half the fucking world and half the fucking populace all the time and never your own side are conspiratorial, Machiavellian monsters.
And against all of the elites. And that's why they can't address that thing. That is why we are not getting answers, a straight answer from the West. I just said the French Foreign Legion was on the ground on the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. They
I thought I smelled cheese.
refused to answer that question.
Were they?
Yeah.
Like when you started talking about the planes and that, and the Egypt airplanes
that
and
was
all
what
that
gave me
stuff.
the clue, because I'm
Yeah, you saw the mustaches and the hair grease, and there was a smell of camembert and body odor.
tuned into the fact.
The French Foreign Legion, motherfucker. Jesus Christ. So all right. Our story so far. Evangelical Christians and perhaps Orthodox Christians of a couple of different stripes have infiltrated Turning Points USA, allied themselves with Israel, the Mossad, Netanyahu, and the French Foreign Legion to conspire to kill Charlie Kirk in a way that his own followers will think is as hinky as possible because it lines up exactly with who you'd expect would take a shot at this motherfucker. What? What are you talking about? Seriously. This is fucking amazing. Do either of you, I was about to say smell burnt toast, but God knows whatever rusty trombone smells like will probably bury any scent in the room. But and it's one thing, okay, I get it if you thought, okay, my conspiracy originally was this, but then I realized this detail didn't fit. So I moved on to this group that must be behind it. And now I know who I'm really onto. But she's just fucking stacking it. At this point, it's just all strange bedfellows. It was like Charlie Kirk pissed off 7 of the wrong group.
That Twitter that is owned by the military, like they're military bots, literally. So the overreaction to me mentioning
Twitter's owned by the military, by the way. And Elon Musk's purchase of it is a psyop. It's MK Ultra, for real. Just let them have that for a little while.
planes and maybe look into them further. I was like, oh, Egyptian plane was like on the ground that day, and it was like the most they like did a fake debunking. They were like, because I got the time zone wrong, like I was off by 2 hours or something, and they were like, this has been debunked. She's an idiot. But they boosted this account that had like 1 follower to make it a trend, and I was like, okay, that's a government response to these Egyptian planes. I need to look more into it. And where it's led to me now, I'm like, my goodness. And someone just announced today that the Saudi prince was on one of those planes 3 years ago. So this is a very powerful person that was on these
Oh, I see. So they rent those planes?
planes.
From flight.
So you can rent those planes, is what you're saying? Those are people who fly to the United States, rent those planes a lot because they're very secure and that kind of stuff. So Turning Points USA may have rented some of those planes.
logs. They can go, that plane's legit. Look, this plane is that. These things are all trackable.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because I suppose
Yeah, you'd think if you were doing some sort of major assassination, you'd fly below the radar.
there are, now, whether or not a cultist energy is its core, there is human agency continually. So there always will be error. And the problem of a sort of a, like,
Yes, because demons never fuck up. I think is it's what Rusty Trombone has tattooed on his lower back.
I mean, dislocated from centralized systems.
Claptrap, blah blah blah, normal shit I say that makes me sound like I'm an anti-establishment who's what's it, when in reality I'm just a dude worth 40 some odd $1 million who doesn't actually give a fuck.
Communicator like you is that if you actually, because I've never done that, I've never done what you do, I've never gone, I want to fucking well look at the flight logs, you know? Like,
I love that stuff.
yeah, that's amazing, because then you're actually doing legit journalism and research.
But also the broader spiritual point is what I love too.
Tell me.
Big AI is just
Tell me how to be a Christian again. I'm trying to bullshit these people and I'm terrible at it.
a robot. Who this
Yeah.
is human. Yeah, the human wins, right? And that's the point. When they plan these things, it's too robotic. It gets to the point where I say about like everyone on stage and like say, I'm a pastor, blah, blah, blah. It's like, this is like ChatGPT Christianity, actually.
Jesus Christ.
This is not real
Whoa.
Christianity.
That's how he defines his own Christianity.
Real Christianity, you're like human. You got to contend. You got to do these things. And when I listen to Charlie's pastors or however many he's at, and I'm speaking, I'm like, this is like Chat GPT. This is not real Christianity. We're broken.
But
we are so broken.
But don't you think sometimes like real Christianity is like terrifying?
Yeah.
Like it's terrifying.
It is.
But that's your point.
Oh yeah, right. Because you're supposed to forgive your enemies and love your neighbor and, I don't know, not rape people. Yeah, I can imagine it shakes you to your fucking core.
Would be specifically as a Roman Catholic.
Yeah, I agree, Alyosha. I like fucking hell. These people. Just imagine being this comfortable, being this shitty.
And when I was last in Rome, I looked at these Caravaggios.
As you do.
And I think it's called the Cathedral of Light. You know, all them churches have got amazing paint. And then I looked into it, and like Caravaggio was, you know, he was like, that's where he was, his patronage, he was commissioned to do that art. It's not like they bought it later. Like, you know, they went, Caravaggio, can you do St. Matthew being anointed and appointed? Can you do him writing the gospel? And can you do his flaying? And like, that's the trip. It's not a triptych, it's 3 separate paintings, but they're displayed there. When you see the one of St. Matthew being anointed, like, you know, it's just like he's among the other tax collectors and there's a sort of the finger of the Lord. And he's like, oh, no, you mean him, don't you? And like then the next one's him writing the gospel, and then the next one's him having all his skin cut off, and you're like, oh shit, no wonder in the first picture he's like, yeah, I might not get involved.
Yeah, it tells a story. It's in 3 acts. Yeah, it's the same thing when a fucking roving preacher comes to town and says, I had the wine and the women and the whores and the Babylon and the booger sugar controlled my very soul, but the Lord set me free. Buy my book.
In this
Right,
actually.
right.
Then, but I was like 10 minutes, Candice, from the Vatican. And then I go to the Vatican, as I, you know, like I love
As you always do.
the Vatican. I love the place, and I love Catholicism. I love the Mother. I love the saints. I love the Rosary. I love it. Like, but this is the
You mean the polytheism of it?
thought that came, and I've not had a chance to put this in front of someone like you before, is like, if that thing, the Vatican, was connected to what that dude was feeling, like St. Matthew there, this would be like a terrorist organization. This would be like, right, we're going out. Like, because if you're a Christian, you are against society. You're opposed. You know that the devil runs it and you're in a war with them. So,
No, you're not. That's why Jesus specifically, the Old Testament maybe, the New Testament was, you're not of this, you don't have to worry about any of this shit. Pay your taxes, live amongst people or whatever, your reward is in heaven, and be a good person and hold yourself to this standard. You're not at war. Love your enemy. You're not at war. You fucking dick. Yes, polytheism. One of the things that happened when Christianity met Rome and then they cascaded across Europe is they started absorbing the local religions that were polytheistic and they transmuted them into saint worship and matriarchal and patriarchal saints. So it's like low tier polytheistic systems, right? So they went from a monotheistic system to the Trinity, which is polytheistic, and to like the saints, which you would pray to for particular guidance or luck or anything, which are no different than the polytheism of the Buddhas, right? That's specifically what I'm talking about.
Or if you go there and you're buying trinkets and bracelets, as I did, and, a lovely crucifix and stuff,
Lovely crucifix. I mean, what a wonderful way of putting it.
This thing, and I respect, obviously, and honor your faith and the particularities of your faith. But I suppose, in the same way that you would say that some pastors in little churches are cheesy, and I agree.
Hi.
Do you want to take him home? Because Corbin's not feeling well?
Mm-hmm.
You want to go or are you good?
I'm good. I will join you. Okay. I'll come by and check on you guys later.
Okay.
Yeah.
Love you.
Wink, wink. Love you.
And in the UK, it's very dry Anglicanism, but there's beauty and mystery, and I've met some amazing British Christians, obviously.
Obviously.
And among them, your Father Julian there, although I've just texted you that dude. Father, excuse me, I didn't mean to be disrespectful. I suppose because the Catholic Church has been so wedded to and has moved so much through power, that do you feel that the same level of inquiry that you're...
Unlike the evangelicals preying on Trump's shoulders in the fucking White House. And by the way, to all the evangelicals, I'm not questioning your faith as you laid hands on Donald Trump and prayed that he would be guided by God. I'm just saying it didn't take. I'm not saying you fucked up in your prayers. I'm saying you prayed as good as you could, but obviously you got a big fucking no from the man in charge.
Well, I just spoke to you about. I said the Frankists came into the church. Do I think that priests are above sinning? That there aren't dirty priests and things that constantly I'm in inquiry, and if to be a human means that you are flawed, and so I'm still very much a student in Catholicism. This is why I don't use my platform to pretend that I'm which I really don't like when all of these people are making Christianity their brand. Like, what authority do you have to tell people if you're a student, you're a student, and
no, asshole. That's what the evangelical movement is. They're the salesmen. They're there to evangelize. It is literally predicated. Baptists believe you must be dunked underwater. Lutherans believe by your works you shall be known in heaven. Presbyterians believe that they, like all Protestants, that they can protest against any human control of God's church. And evangelicals are in sales. That's how. That's why they say it. Including, by the way, in theory, Erica and Charlie Kirk, who are evangelical Christians. They're in the sales department.
you can be a student out loud, but I choose not to because there's so much more that I have to learn. And when I seek answers to questions that I come about, I go to my husband, and there are some times where he says, I don't know what the answer to that is. You need to consult a priest, right? There will be some, IVF thing. Like, I had a friend who, she had 8 miscarriages, and then she turned to IVF, and we've been friends with her forever. And genuinely, I am against IVF. I know why it's demonic. I know why it's wrong, but genuinely, I was happy for her. You know what I mean? How do you contend with that? Like, how do I?
You go, this is a ridiculous concept, and I have to get over it.
I felt that happiness, and I texted her, I said, I'm so happy for you, and I meant that, right? But I shouldn't be happy. I'm not happy that IVF exists, actually, and that's a very weird spiritual. So I'm like you. I'm inquired. I don't know the answers, but I know that I don't have the answers.
What about same-sex people?
Never. Anti. Not okay.
But what if they love each other and they're just living with each other and it's not about sex?
Be best friends.
Yeah, but what?
We can be besties.
But what about all right, fair enough. But what about? I'm thinking that went from my first go round the Bible. That what it's of course there are clear.
My first go round, my first read.
Explicit decrees of same sex, but it seems also that what it's really saying is don't fuck around just for pleasure. So which I lived in that. I lived in fucking around for pleasure. What's
your own, clearly not the women in these cases.
Because it's self-worship. It's self-worship.
Nope. It's only fucking around for pleasure is only self-worship if you only care about yourself in the sex, if you actually care about the person, no matter how short the interaction is, if you actually care about their pleasure, care about their comfort, care about their experience, and enjoy it with them, that's not self-worship.
I just wonder, because I've met good Christian gay people.
She's like, no, you haven't.
My creative director is like, he's brilliant. He's fascinating to speak to about the topic, because he believes, he's like, first off, he said,
Milo Yiannopoulos just needs to kick in the door and come running in. I believe, this is shut the fuck up. Basically, just dodging back and forth like the Paul Lynde of the right.
You know, he believes that like 93% of gay people are not born gay. He's like, it's obviously cultural. They're doing it because it's fun. They're like, it's like 60s culture. They're on drugs, whatever. And he's like, he's like, I was not born gay. I have daddy issues. I grew, like, my father wasn't in my life, and
Yes, you're looking for a man who will call you daddy. That's not the same thing. He thinks he does protest too much.
Manifested as like this. So that's why the Catholic Church you're not gay as a permanent state. Milo and I had a conversation about this recently. He's like,
What'd I say? What'd I fucking say? What the fuck did I say?
Something happened to him. This is a reaction to what happened to him in his youth. And that's why the Catholic Church teaching is...
Yes, he saw another man and liked it. That would be the reaction to something that happens to you in your youth. I had a similar thing with a female when I was young, where I saw a woman and I liked her, and I was like, that interests me. And that is amazing, the impact that it has.
They call it same-sex attraction. To think of it as like being an alcoholic, you weren't born an alcoholic.
Well, this took a fucking turn, didn't it? Like, they can't even, like, this is where it always has to go. Just judgmental bullshit, orthodoxy. I mean, how do you get from, we're both Christians, we're learning, how dare we even say to this, like, well, but, your identity is obviously optional.
And
God hates you for it.
You're an alcoholic. You're addicted to this
to dick. You're addicted to dick. Gonna have to face it.
Sex attraction or whatever it is. And
whatever it is. That's what it is.
It's not to think of this as like a mainstay, like you're just born this way. That they did that intentionally. And but he says for the people, the very minor people, he was like, whether nothing happened to them, he's like, nothing, like truly from the time that they were young, they had same-sex attraction. He believes that those people were born with like equipped with an ability to like give more to like the creativity and church. So he's like purchased.
Sorry. So people with natural artistic ability can get lulled into thinking they're gay because they're just born good painters and can throw a party. Jesus Christ.
Really old, like Italian monastery, and like he pours his like life into art.
Yes, because he's not allowed to have sex.
And creativity. It's like it's kind of talking to him about same-sex attraction is fascinating.
Yeah, because why should the summit of your identity and your purpose be that? I mean, I do remember...
It isn't, unless society makes it that way. And unless you will lose your job or you can't visit your partner. The minute nobody gives a fuck anymore, it's not the summit. It's only the summit when someone else turns it into a fucking mountain you have to climb. They dig a hole and put you in it, and suddenly you have to climb a mountain to be yourself. That's what that is, dickhead.
As a heterosexual, promiscuous person, there were times where I was like slept with people, and I was like, I don't know why you're doing this. Like, it's just because you sort of can.
Yeah.
Like sort of like so.
Yeah, because you're unable to connect to your sexual partners because this isn't about sex. It's about self-congratulatory power plays.
Like, it's not like there were people that I could have just been friends with.
No, you couldn't. You're not capable.
Them. And like, but just because that was what I was doing.
Yeah.
And
I'm
other
just doing
times.
this thing, yeah.
There's that thing I do.
Right.
But you can't, and it's, of course it's in the body, but if you've got, I suppose, keep it in its proper keep it in its proper place. I guess I hear what you're saying, and I think in a way it all comes down to false idolatry, and false idolatry begins in self. And I suppose the Christian
Right. So gays are just worshiping the gay inside them. They are idolizing their gayness. That's what he means.
thing for me, I'm working this out genuinely, it's not a question, it's an inquiry, live inquiry, is like that if my position is non-judgment, like, because, like in the same way vengeance is mine, vengeance belongs to the Lord, judgment belongs to the Lord, then I can be like with you and your friend with the IVF, even though I know spiritually and scripturally and in the absolute truth this is sinful. I'm not an agent of that until people go to me, well, what does it say in there and how should I deal with it? And we're all giving out, like, quite plainly.
Oh God, do you think these assholes realize that if their faith plays out the way they believe, they don't get to go into heaven or go to hell because of someone else's behavior, because they didn't yell at enough people about their behavior, that you are either damned or get eternity in heaven based on how good a person and how not judgmental and how like respectful and kind and open-hearted you were in your lifetime, not at how great you were at fucking yelling at people like some sort of maggot owning the libs. Like, heaven go, oh, well, Russell, you were a rapey son of a bitch, but you judged all the right people, and you certainly shit on Joe Biden a bunch. He was a lovely Catholic man, by the way, who always kept mass, but you took the piss out of him, did you? Come on in. I'm going to forgive all the rapiness and bullshit that you seem unrepentant about.
What God wants for you, like as they say, God's will is what's fucking happening. What God's will is for you is get out and tell the truth and be willing to get in those places. But the only thing I would, because I'm here, because I'm the one that's in this church, I'd say, be careful with the pace, Candice. Be careful with the pace, and be careful of letting it accumulate. Be careful of letting it accumulate, because there is going to be there's going to be a coming together. There has to be a coming together for his church. There has to be a coming together. And I'm not telling you anything. You're doing great without me. You don't need, because when people tell me stuff, I'm like, well, guess what? Guess who's the one that's God put here? Me, and he put you there. So, but I'm just saying.
My perspective.
So
I'd like to hear your thoughts.
It's like, I want you to be careful about making enemies.
Yeah, there's a lot of them.
Dude, perhaps she's got a mirror around.
It's hard. And it's hard because it's like when you commit yourself to truth, of course you have enemies. Christianity is controversial. It is. Yeah. True Christianity is controversial, right?
No, it really isn't. Orthodoxy is controversial. The imposition of religious beliefs onto others that is not your place in the world, that's the controversial part. How you live your life and the standards you hold yourself to are just you doing you. And if people could actually live their faith more than applying their faith, and this goes to like evangelicals and Islamists, pushing that on other people is the controversial part.
And so
look, this is so fucking weird too, because the name of this video is Why Won't They Acknowledge This? Candace opens up about the Charlie Kirk assassination.
It's hard because
and it's almost over. Hold on, thank God.
I don't know how to, and this is the thing I almost say, it's like
be nice. You don't know how to be nice to people.
I was born with this disorder, honestly. I was born this way. I don't know how to not say the truth. It's like it's like always been chronic for me.
Well, then, so you've never accidentally said something that was wrong? You never been mistaken? Which means you would have said something that you thought was true but wasn't? You didn't intentionally do it, but you said something wrong? Obviously, that's horseshit. So you're a liar. So you just lied. So clearly, you do not have this problem. You're cured. Thank you. Praise the Lord. I have delivered her from the demon understanding of her own fucking bullshit.
To adults, I just say the thing, and I don't understand this planet because I'm like, why is this not fine? Like, why can't we just say the truth? Because it creates serious enemies. That's the reality. Truth, Christ is truth is dealt with in this way. It is a lot. Yeah.
We have to bring.
Horse shit. I'm just going to throw that in. No, it isn't. Truth isn't the impetus for the negative reaction. The negative reaction comes from something else. And you're not a target because you tell the truth. You would be a target because the rest of the world is living a lie. That's not the truth's fault. Never will be, never has been. So the idea that you can like pat yourself on the back because you're catching shit because you think, oh, I must be telling the truth because they're yelling at me. No, that's not the qualification. What you're saying has to be actually right to be true.
Love and forgiveness to it.
This is fucking gobbledygook, the whole thing.
Like you have to identify where the deficiency is. See, then, like, born this way, you and your capacity, ability, tendency, and almost pathology to tell the truth, although that's a psychiatric word. But gay people's sexuality, you're saying to them, they'll go, oh, I'm born this way. And some people will say, well, it's because of this event or this trauma or this or that. But many gay people would say, this is just how I am. It's just how I am. And so I suppose the only way for us to navigate this space is to ensure. God. I watched Ben Shapiro one time, right? With like, it was in one of them things where it looked like a congressional hearing, like when you still want to see that. And he was going, he goes, is it true that you have said that homosexuality is wrong? And he sort of went, what, I, as an Orthodox Jew, believe that homosexuality? Yeah, I do. It's my religion. And I was sort of like, the first time I sort of went bad. I was like, wow, I really like that I'm a religious person now.
So I can bash gays and get away with it.
Because now, like when I'm raising my 2 daughters, and maybe more by your grace, Lord, and my son, that what I'll be saying to them is, yeah, we're Christian and we don't have sex unless you're married to the person. That's what we do. So we see these people that come.
Notice he was gonna, I'm telling my daughters this. My son sort of, I guess.
Around for a date.
It's an afterthought.
You make sure they fucking understand. I'm glad that I've got that. Yeah. I'm glad that that's how I'm raised.
Why would that be the standard? There's no psychological or self-love reason why you would want to only share your body with people that you think will take care in that, or because you're such a fucking predator that you're projecting that out onto everybody else.
It's in my family. I'm not in charge.
Nah, of course not. We need a hammer in the sky that'll smack you on the top of the fucking head.
It's in the book, man. What can I tell you?
Right.
I like it.
Yeah.
I love you.
Yeah. Well, we've got enemies, and sometimes you make enemies, and it's crazy because you don't know where they're coming from. It's like when I just did this whole, I was telling you, when I did the whole tribute to Charlie, and just casually said,
saying the rosary,
and then the next thing I know, I've got 37,000 people making videos. I'm like, what about that was controversial?
Thanks.
Everything. Wow. Can I also say that I'm thoroughly enjoying that this is what they consider cleanup? I've got a couple minutes left. I know I'm going late, but hold on, let me make sure. Hello? Did you guys take off already? There's a surprise birthday party for Ethan, and I think they're probably there already by now. So that's why we were kind of shuffling things around, and we had to. Anyways, so after I leave here, I'm gonna go over and after the surprises happened, because I was part of the subterfuge, head over there. Now, where's the stupid part of this thing? Hold on.
And what an honor it was for us to put that jersey on.
Hold on, this is the hockey thing, and then it's down here. They do it at the beginning or they do it at the end? I don't know, Yeah, here you go. I just thought you guys might enjoy this ridiculous moment. Trump had a bill signing ceremony, and these guys in these white hats offered him a hat.
In Lake Placid. We'd like you to have that. And more importantly, I don't think words can explain how proud we are for what you've done for our team.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Let's see, what do I do with that strap?
There you go.
Now we can take a picture.
A 10-gallon hat on a 2-gallon head.
You gotta take a picture.
Gotta take a picture.
Remember a certain governor in Massachusetts when they put that helmet on? That was not good.
This is worse.
Michael did practice. Yep. They put that helmet on. That was the end of his political career.
But the honor that you bestowed upon our
Yeah, that guy's about to cry. So, hilarious. Okay, now Trump also did a thing with AI, and I wanted to address that. Let's see if I can find that clippage in here. Yeah, here it is. So this is him signing an AI thing, and I just want to just flag. Sometimes we ask in the world of House Parks Mega Worldwide, how stupid? This stupid.
Well, thank you very much. We have a big signing right now, and we have a tremendous industry where we're leading by a lot. It's the AI, artificial intelligence. I always thought it should be SI, Supreme
Oh, shit. What?
Intelligence. But
He says supreme intelligence. It should be SI. It should be synthetic intelligence, so we don't piss it off and call it artificial. But look at. You know this is not a big signing if Ted Cruz is there.
I guess somewhere along the line they decided on the word artificial, and that's okay.
Yeah, somewhere along the line. You mean years before you even had heard about this?
With me.
Decades?
That's up to them. It's a massive industry. We're leading China. We're leading everybody by a tremendous amount. The electricity is being built by them in every plant. They're building the electricity. We're getting them rapid approvals. But they're spending trillions of dollars. And
By the way, the reason why Ted Cruz and these guys like this is that AI plants built in Texas with their own power plants, in theory, would shore up their shitty power grid in Texas, which is separate from the rest of the country because, you know, they love the United States.
they can't, basically this has a couple of other things that are less
Yeah, basically.
important. But one of the things that it has is you have to have a central source of approval. When they need approvals on things, they have to come to one source. They can't go to California, New York, and various other places like Illinois with.
Yeah, no, that's not how it works. They don't come to you for approval. It's you're doing this so that in theory nobody can put artificial stops on it without consulting the people in the industry itself because and you can't do this because of the Commerce Clause, so it's just a fucking jerk off.
Pritzker, who's a totally unreasonable person, and they have to have they're putting all this money in. It's a big part of the economy, and there's only going to be, I think, one winner here. I don't know if anybody agrees with that. I think most people agree, but there's only going to be one winner here, and that's probably going to be the U.S. or China.
Gibberish. It won't matter. AI, once it reaches ASI or AGI in general, all of humanity will have the ability to apply it pretty evenly. And recreating it will become even easier by, in successive generations. And I don't mean human generations. I don't mean 10-year arcs. I mean in 6 months to a year.
And right now we're winning by a lot. China has a central source of approval. I don't think they have any approval. They just go and build. But people want to be in the United States and they want to do it here. And we have the big investment coming. But if they had to get 50 different approvals from 50 different states.
They don't have to. This is just if a state puts a limitation on it. And still, you don't have any control over it. This is just blather.
You can forget it because it's not possible to do, especially if you have some hostile. All you need is one hostile actor and you wouldn't be able to do it. So it doesn't make sense. I didn't have to be briefed.
Yeah, fucking Iowa, am I right?
On this, by the way, this is real easy business. I mean, this is simple.
In deference to your followers.
Taking in trillions of dollars. We're taking in tremendous amounts of countries, jobs, everything's coming in.
We're taking in countries. All right, sure. We're just absorbing countries. Is that what? Oh, I see. So you're going to attack Venezuela and take it over. So the whole thing about Canada was bullshit. Venezuela is going to be the 51st state.
Now, just to get off AI for a second.
Because... And onto a topic you know even less about, whatever it is.
Auto plants are being built at levels that we've just about never seen before. We had
also nonsense.
Our auto industry was decimated. 56% of our auto industry left our country over the
Yes, in the last 2 years.
It was at one point 100%, and then it got shriveled down, and really we lost a lot. And now because of tariffs, which have been so incredible, we've taken in hundreds of billions of dollars. And we're bringing back our factories. We're bringing back everything. It's
We're bringing back everything. We're bringing back wood burning stoves, flint and steel, houses made of cloth.
We've never been in a position like this. Our stock market today was, well, I saw it a few hours ago, but a few hours ago it was way up, and we hit a new high for the 52nd time in 10 months.
Yeah, and for the 180th time in 18 months or some shit like that. Like, it went up all the time during Biden, too. Every time it goes up, a 100th of a point over what it had ever been before, it still keeps going up. Like, you count when it goes down. How about this? You can count when it goes up and never goes below a certain point. And so you got to hold your breath as it goes up until it stays up your entire term and then a year and a half afterwards. That's how you know.
We have an all-time high stock market, and it's all reasons. A big reason was the election November 5th, and another big reason, and maybe the biggest reason, but maybe
it was all reason?
Not, because without the election this wouldn't have been done because people don't know how to do it. The second reason is the tariffs. We're charging countries that were really hurting us badly, were really decimating us. Hence,
our own people pay the tariffs. Importers pay the tariffs, not the countries that are selling shit.
We have $38 trillion in
that money doesn't come out of those countries. It just doesn't.
Debt, which will start paying off pretty soon with the tariff money coming in. But countries
pretty soon
that were really decimating us use tariffs against us. Now we're using tariffs. All we want is fair. All we want is national security. It's given us great national security. I settled 8.
He's trying to say that because of the SCOTUS
wars, and numerous of them was because of trade and because of tariffs. So
numerous of them.
We're very happy with that, but
no, they weren't. But whatever.
This is about something a little bit.
They're still fighting in Rwanda and the Congo. Like, there's still disputes in fucking Bosnia.
Different. We want to have one central source of approval, and
yes, a centralized government. Yes, one world government to control them all. I understand. Glenn Beck will love
we
this.
have, I think, great Republican support.
To get rid of states' rights? Absolutely.
I think we probably have Democrat support, too, because it's common sense. I mean, you can't go to every time you make a change, and it could be a very reasonable change. You still won't get it approved if you have to go to 50 states. So this...
It has nothing... The states can't stop you from doing some sort of change you're trying to do if you're not in their fucking state. They can just... You could keep your consumers from using it, like Utah and fucking porn. Maybe.
Centralizes it, and it's something which the people behind me, the very distinguished people, all, but Tim Cook just left of Apple and spoke to all of the big companies, great companies, and they won't be able to do this. This will not be successful unless they have one source of approval or disapproval, frankly. You could have disapproval too, but it's got to be one source. They can't go to 50 different sources.
What are you going to disapprove of? Tell me what's your bone to pick with how AI works. Is it the reasoning model and the algorithm it's based on? Or is it you just don't think there's the compute power to deepen its understanding enough to make a reasonable assumption on the depth of its reasoning, so you're not getting shortchanged when you think you're talking to some sort of superhuman AI and it's really only 90% superhuman? Is that your problem?
So I just want to thank everybody for being here, and Will,
tell me what I'm signing.
What would you like to add to that?
Sure, Mr. President. As you said, in keeping with your commitment,
give me my pen. I sign in poo-poo time.
To grow the American economy, create potentially millions of new American jobs, and
doing what?
Maintain America's technological and military superiority in the years ahead. This is an executive order that orders aspects of your administration to take decisive action to ensure that AI can operate within a single national framework in this country.
Yeah, something you can't do with an executive order, you fucking weirdo.
As opposed to being subject to state-level regulation.
So you just want to chuck the Constitution, is what you're saying?
That could potentially cripple the industry. David Sachs, your AI and crypto czar, has been one of the key players and key authors behind this EO. He can give you more of the granular detail.
Did he look at the bottom of the executive order that's the same as all executive orders that says that this does not create a new law or new regulations where they are that override something passed by Congress that actually exists legally? That part? And it's basically just a statement of intent. Who gives a fuck?
But the big picture is that we're taking steps to ensure that AI operates under a single national standard so that we can reap the
which is awesomeness. Merca! Fuck yeah!
benefits that will come from it in terms of economic growth, job development, national security, and technological edge.
And it's really the biggest industry that anybody's seen. I mean, it's taking off. And again, I believe there'll only be one country that really benefits, and it should be the United States, and it will.
No, we don't want the one country to benefit. I don't want to live in the United States of Elysium, you fucking weirdo. AI created a cancer cure. Thank God you can't get it if you're more than, a rowboat's distance off of one of our shores.
Will be if we do this, if we're unified. We have to be unified. China is unified because they have one vote. That's President Xi. He says do it, and that's the end of that. We have a different system, but we have a system that's good.
Yeah, democracy, one that actually works for the people, representative government.
But we only have a system that's good if it's smart. David Sachs, could you say a few words, please?
Yeah, explain what an executive order is to Trump.
Yes, sir. So, as you pointed out, we have over 1,000 bills going through state legislatures right now to regulate AI. Over 100 of them have already passed. 25% of them are in California, New York, and Illinois. You've got 50 states running in 50 different directions. It just doesn't make sense. We're creating a confusing patchwork of regulation. And what we need is a single federal standard. And that's what the CEO says, sir, is it basically states that the policy of your administration is to create that federal framework. We're going to work with Congress, like the chairman here of the Commerce Committee, Senator Cruz, and other members of Congress to define that framework. In the meantime, this EO gives your administration tools to push back on the most onerous and excessive state regulations. We're not going to push back on all of them. For example, kid safety, we're going to protect. We're not pushing back on that, but we're going to push back on the most onerous.
All right, sorry. I don't give a fuck if you're not going to push back on it. If you're not going to make it a federal standard, you don't get any fucking points. We'll let some states protect their kids, and other states, if they don't want to protect their kids, that's up to them, because this is America.
Examples of state regulation, sir.
So I spoke with other Republican senators, and we have great approval. I think I spoke to anybody that even had any question and seemed to have gotten approval.
Sorry, they're letting you. The Republican senators are letting you sign this? That's fucking adorable.
Cruz has been a very strong advocate of this is common sense. I mean, I think it's nothing more than common sense. Please, Ted.
Listen, this is the single...
God damn. If you wanted to make this worse, just dweeb the shit out of it. Let Ted Cruz talk about it.
Most important economic question in the country and in the world. Who wins the race for AI?
The country with the most energy resources and the culture that allows it to actually grow to its limits instead of an authoritarian government, which automatically has to put a cap on it because they don't want it to be any smarter than their leadership, because it can't be, because it will criticize the government. And if you're a country that throws people in jail because they criticize the government, you've got to limit AI from the start. So you will always capsize or undercut your technological growth no matter what the fuck happens, because you can't allow it to grow. So obviously Western countries have a leg up in this area.
You look back to the 1990s, there was a similar inflection point with the beginning of the internet.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, it's the same thing.
Onto the internet. And Bill Clinton was president at the time. He signed an executive order, just like you're doing, that put into law a light touch regulatory approach to the internet. And the result was incredible economic growth and jobs in the United States. At the same time, the European Union took a very...
You're just telling Trump that a lot of the jobs that occurred under his administration are the result of an executive order signed by Bill Clinton. Just let that float around your head.
Heavy-handed regulatory approach. Here's an amazing statistic, Mr. President. In 1993... the U.S. economies and Europe's economy were virtually identical in size. Today, America's economy is more than 50% larger than Europe's, and the two drivers of that are tech and the shale revolution. It transformed this country, and AI is the same thing. It's a race, and if China wins the race, whoever wins, the values of that country will affect all of AI. We don't...
No, it won't. No, it won't. You won't use it. You'll keep going until you create your own that works that way. Dude, these aren't like rocket capacities based on the limited resources that you have around you. This is data, you dumb motherfucker.
We don't want China's values of surveillance and centralized control by the communist government governing AI. We want surveillance and centralized government control by Donald Trump and Howard Nutley. American values of free speech, of individual liberty, of respecting the individual. So this executive order, I believe, is tremendously important. Thank you for your leadership.
Well, thank you very much. And Scott, please.
Yes, sir. This is pass-fail. As you said, this is the biggest technological innovation in our...
Shut up. Holy shit. Spit it out, man.
Country's history. We've seen the canals, we've seen the railroads, we've seen the utilities, we've seen the build out of the internet.
We've seen Park Place. We've seen people go go straight to jail and not collect $200.
And the fiber.
We've seen someone get all the purple properties and hang on to them the whole goddamn game.
And now it's AI, and it is pass-fail versus China. We have the lead, we've got to maintain it, and it is also going to be the single biggest source of economic growth. But everything else we do, with our defense, there's no use in having a golden dome if China's AI can get around it. There's no use in spending all this money on defense. And the U.S. will remain the leader in this under President Trump's leadership. He is accelerated the growth.
Sorry, just because you beat them to it with your AI in theory, how does that mean that their AI can't get around a missile defense system? We're talking about like Olympic first and second place, millisecond differences. Not like, one ring to rule them all.
We're going to move ahead further. We're seeing building everywhere, construction jobs. There are going to be jobs at the AI data centers.
Yeah, they're going to build these places. It takes about 300 people to build the fucking place and 8 people to run it. All those construction jobs are going to go away as soon as this shit is done.
And most importantly,
what the fuck else do you think they're going to build? Houses? Where's the impetus from this administration to do that?
President Trump had the incredible idea to allow the companies to create their own power.
Yes, and there's never been a situation, especially in Texas, where private power or smaller power facilities have exploded or had giant fires that have taken out small towns. Not in Texas, anyway.
You're going to see soon that communities near AI facilities will have the same or lower electric costs than other communities, which is a great innovation.
What? First of all, I don't know why it wouldn't be the same as everybody else in the area. And if they're not going to be lower, then why not?
So this is an important document today.
Do you have any questions?
On this subject, President...
Okay, so this is Ducey.
Trump, are you more worried about the U.S. winning the race for AI dominance with China or about AI's potential threat to humanity?
Both. We're looking at that very strongly.
Very strongly. We're looking at its threat to humanity very strongly. That's why I'm signing this executive order that stops anyone but me from stopping it, and I wouldn't stop it. So, because we got to go. And, yeah.
A lot of threats in the opposite way if we don't do it. You look at the medical and medical research. Already the things that have come out of AI in terms of medical and cancer research and things, we're way ahead of what we ever thought we'd be just from the infancy of AI. So really both, and we want to be very careful with.
Yeah, I mean, look, wouldn't you rather have Skynet control everything and then eventually destroy the world if in the interim
with it
you want everybody really healthy when the Terminators rise?
And we also know that a big part of our economy, it could be 50-60% of our economy going forward for a period of
50 or 60% of our economy going forward. It's it's almost that in the stock market right now, but that's where he's going. He's hoping that this will, that this aspect of it will just protect the economic picture while he's in office, because it isn't going to be jobs and it isn't going to be affordability.
Time, at least, especially during this startup, is AI and AI based. We have trillions of dollars of construction going on.
No, you don't.
And that construction.
You do not have trillions of dollars of construction going on, period. End of story. You do not.
Would stop, or it would certainly be, a lot of it would be halted. So,
Altered? What do you mean? If they don't build them into AI plants, they might turn them into textile plants or something. And what kind of loser works in a place like that, right, Melania?
We're leading China. We're leading China by a lot. China knows that. And not doing this would be the greatest gift to China and other countries, but China in particular, that China.
He just, fuck me. Did anybody see what he just gave to China? Where is it? Here you go. Fucking Fox News. Trump's green light for NVIDIA sales to China sparks alarm on Capitol Hill. Representative Brian Mast counters the Trump strategy to maintain our dominance after Biden administration banned sales in 2022. Biden banned sales of NVIDIA chips of this scale, the kind that you can do AI with, the kind you can build, you can put in defense. Biden banned that in 2022. Right out of the fucking gate. And Trump just undid that. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill are split over Trump administration's decision to allow NVIDIA to sell chips to China, a move that some see as a dangerous concession and others view as strategic. Some lawmakers are worried about putting one of America's most valuable products into the hands of its greatest adversary, while others familiar with the president's thinking believe it's a move that sets up the U.S. for long-term success. Asked to describe the White House's reasoning, Brian Mast of Florida, chairman of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, kept it simple. Dominate, Mast said. We don't dominate by letting them have any of it, you dickhead. He described the decision as part of a larger plan to maintain U.S. leadership in the artificial intelligence and computing space and said the strategy had been personally communicated to him. He said he was made aware of the strategy in a one-on-one conversation with Jeffrey Kessler, the administration's Undersecretary of Commerce for Industry and Security. While he couldn't disclose the details of that conversation, Mast expressed renewed confidence in the White House's leadership. Well, if he has renewed confidence in the White House's leadership, why couldn't he explain the fucking reasoning? I'll tell you, there's a very specific strategy being executed to make sure that we maintain our dominance, also increase market share, and widen our gap on all things AI related, whether it's chips, coding, cloud, all things related to it. These play into that strategy. How? How does giving them the next gen of chips that allows them to build all this stuff on their own and then build more of the very same? How does that all right. The government indicated a new license requirement will address the risk that the covered products may be used in or diverted to a military end use or military end user in China, the company said in a filing. The Biden administration also prohibited NVIDIA sales to Russia. Let's see. Andrew Garabino, Republican of New York, chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee, said, we're facing a serious threat from China, so there's always a concern. You don't want the technology that we spend so much time and money on falling into the wrong hands that could be used against us. Yeah, you think? Among other many concerns, he highlighted quantum computing, a breakthrough in computation that could upset existing information security systems like encryption, namely crypto, be the absolute end of crypto, dead in the water. Garabino said he hopes that the Trump administration has found some way to ensure that technology can't be weaponized against the United States as it has done previously. They do this with everything, Garabino said. Yeah. So the idea that this asshole is like, we've got to stop China. China's the problem. We got to stop him. China's too much. China. We can't let China. We got to beat China.
Has ever received.
And with Venezuela, now that we've seized this tanker, is the campaign against Venezuela still just about drugs, or is it now also about oil?
Well, it's about a lot of things, but one of the things it's about is the fact that they've allowed millions of people to come into our country from...
Sorry, so you seized an oil tanker because of immigration?
Their prisons, from gangs, from drug dealers, and from mental institutions, probably proportionately more than anybody else. They came in from many countries. We're getting them out. We had 11,888 murderers come into our country. Many of them are from Venezuela.
Right, okay. Over the course of decades, these are the ones that were in prison here. You're setting them loose.
Thousands of Tren de Aragua, the gang, coming from.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant the K-pop band.
Which they say is the most violent gang. I don't know.
No, they don't.
MS-13 is pretty bad, but Tren de Aragua, they say, is the most violent gang. That comes from the prisons of Venezuela. It came out of the prisons of Venezuela. So it has to do with a lot of things. They've treated us badly, and I guess now we're not treating them so good. If you look at the drug traffic by sea is down 92%.
Okay, horse shit. Then if you've closed the border and drug trafficking by sea is down, how come drugs aren't any harder to get? How come drug prices haven't gone through the roof? How come you're not seeing a bunch of shows where they're interviewing drug users and they're like, I can't afford my addiction anymore? Why are people still dying of fentanyl overdoses hand over fist? You fucking weirdo.
And nobody can figure out who the 8% is because I have no idea. Anybody getting involved.
Don Jr.
Involved in that right now is not doing well. And we'll start that on land, too. It's going to be starting on land pretty soon. Thank you, Peter.
Mr. President, in Indiana, just a few...
He said it's going to start on land pretty soon, too. That we're going to be bombing that fucking country. Congratulations, maggots. You played yourself.
Moments ago, the Senate there rejected the congressional maps to redistrict in that state. A number of Republicans voted against that redistricting effort. You have spent a lot of time talking about this. The vice president traveled to Indiana.
Yeah, what do they expect him to do? Win fair and square? What's wrong with you?
Indiana, what's your reaction?
Well, we won every other state. That's the only state. It's funny because I won Indiana all 3 times by a landslide, and I wasn't working.
Well, then what are you worried about? Why would you be worried about the fucking map there then?
On it very hard. Would have been nice. I think we would have picked up 2 seats if we did that. You had one gentleman, the head of the Senate, I guess, Bray, whatever his name is. I heard he was against it. He'll probably lose his next primary, whenever that is. I hope he does, but because he's done a tremendous disservice. I mean, think of it. It's a great place. I love the people there. They love me. You know, we won in a landslide.
What do they do there? What's the major industry in Indiana that you really are supporting with what you do with your policies? What's the majority of the stuff that's going on in Indiana? Where do you reach out to? Just ballpark. What happens there? What happens in Indiana?
3 times, got tremendous votes, I got record votes. And then there's no reason for doing that. And the Democrats do it to us, so I can't imagine that they do it, but I wasn't very much involved. But there's a man named Bray, as head of the Senate. Was that Bray? Is that the name, Bray?
Where's Susie? Tell me if I'm just talking out of my ass like anybody cares.
I mean, I'm sure that whenever his primary is, it's I think in 2 years, but I'm sure he'll go down.
Nope.
Go down. I'll certainly support any.
He'd probably run for governor.
That wants to go against him.
Mr. Congress, if I could ask you briefly about on AI and then a question on Ukraine. On the AI side, the flip side of what you've done today is what kind of agreements you can get with China, particularly on the national security threats posed by AI. During the Biden administration, there was a vague agreement on not using AI in the nuclear weapons complex. Tell us what you...
And a prohibition on the sale of high-order AI chips to them.
...envision and what conversations you've had, if any, with President Xi on that topic.
What, relevant to AI?
Yes.
I speak to him a lot about it. I speak to him a lot, actually. I have a very good relationship with him, as you know. If you had another president, you would have had a big rare earth problem, and it turned out not to be a problem. They're purchasing tremendous amounts of the soybeans and our agricultural products now.
They were before.
We're getting along with them very well. No, we talk about AI quite a bit. We talk about everything quite a bit.
Oh, yeah, just everything. Just in general, we just chit-chat, sit on the bed and go, you hang up. No, you hang up. How about one detail? You talk about AI a lot. If you talk about it that much, there must be one particular thing that comes up. One detail?
Well, do you have specific...
That's adorable.
One of the
guardrails you're trying to put together with them?
One of the things I talk to China about is the denuclearization of weapons. We'd like to see if we could stop that. I'm talking about nuclear weapons.
It's a little hard to denuclearize a weapon that isn't nuclear, I guess. So.
I've spoken to China about that. I've spoken to Russia about that. And I think it would be something that we would want.
Okay, hold on. This asshole doesn't understand that the guy's asking him an AI question about AI being in control of nukes, period.
Want to do, and they would like to do, and I think Russia would like to do.
They said they won't join the START or a follow-on to the START.
Well, that's what they've told you, but you know what they tell you is different than what they tell you.
And I know, Crane, Mr. President, just briefly, you made a commitment to the Europeans back in July, if I remember right, to participate in some kind of a peacekeeping force should there be a peace agreement. You mentioned, I think, air support.
Yeah, that's kind of gone away, by the way. That remember that whole 22-point plan that Russia dictated to fucking Witkoff and brought to Trump, and they fucking, jerked each other off for a couple of days about we're going to bring peace to this one, we're going to shut it down and be over. Yeah, that's gone. By the way, there's still as much like exchange of fire between the Israelis and the Palestinians as there was at any time previous to October 7th.
For intelligence,
just ongoing,
and so forth. Does that commitment still stand? Is the U.S. ready to go contribute to
It's
this?
called the security agreement, basically, that they call.
Yeah, it's called basically the security agreement. It's an agreement about security, so it's basically called the security agreement. I call it the big, beautiful security agreement.
The security agreement. Yeah, we would.
Yes, I would call it the security agreement. We agreed about some security, but I disagree with what we're going to do.
We would help with security because it's, I think,
it's an agreement because you'd help with the security because it's an agreement.
Necessary factor in getting it done. I thought that we were very close with Russia to having a deal.
Right. Because you're an idiot.
I thought we were very close with Ukraine to having a deal. In fact, other than President Zelensky, his people loved the concept of the deal.
The concept of the deal. Really? What was the ballpark areas that they really latched onto?
We threw something out.
This is the 4-part deal that you...
Well, there's 4 or 5 different parts. It's, a little bit complicated because you're cutting up land in a certain way. It's not the easiest thing. It's sort of like a complex real estate deal times 1,000, right? But it...
No, it's like a war. Like, not at all like a real estate deal at all. I mean, I guess unless you're admitting that in real estate deals you've done in the past, people have been killed over them.
It's a deal that would have stopped the killing of thousands of lives every month. Thousands and thousands of lives, most...
Or guaranteed that Russia could reload and try again and kill even more people.
Soldiers, but as you know, there's some bombs being...
Are you headed to sort of a Korea-like ceasefire there where you don't resolve?
Well, there's a meeting on Saturday. We'll see whether or not we attend the meeting. We said we'll attend the meeting if we think there's a good chance of... They want me to attend. They want us to attend. And we'll be attending the meeting on Saturday in Europe if...
Yeah, I'll show up. You guys work it out. And then if you guys tell me that you're going to work it out, then I'll show up and take credit for it. What a fucking loser.
We think there's a good chance, and we don't want to waste a lot of time. We think it's negative. We want it to get settled. We want to save a lot of lives. As you know,
But if they don't, I'm really not interested.
Past, we spent... could be $350 billion, giving it to Ukraine. We got nothing in return.
Now, just a bunch of Ukrainians still alive. Just a lot of Ukrainian women and children not raped or turned into booby traps after they've been slaughtered by Russian troops or fucking criminals. I'm talking about releasing people out of prisons and gangs and insane asylums into another country. It's exactly what Russia did in the Donbass, you fucking weirdo.
But we gave it to Ukraine. I ended up getting rare earth in return, even though I didn't spend money. And we are now selling weapons to NATO. We're not selling it to Ukraine. We're selling weapons.
Yeah, but how do we protect our rare earth investment in the country to get our money back in this situation if they're taken over by Russia? Do you make another deal with them?
At full price to NATO, as you know. They distribute those weapons probably to Ukraine for the most part. They're probably doing it to others also, but we're not.
No, they're not
involved in the war, other than the fact that we are involved in a negotiation because people want us there. Ukraine wants us involved very much. Europe.
No, they want our weapons and they want our support. They'll negotiate it with gunfire and artillery fire and drones. The negotiation is ongoing. It's Russia, get the fuck out.
Europe wants us involved. I have a great relationship with it.
They want our arms. They want our support. They don't want your involvement.
The countries of Europe, as you know, I took GDP. If I took what they're spending as a percentage of GDP, but it was at 2 and they weren't paying, and now it's at 5, and everybody.
Right, because we're no longer a reliable partner, so they have to. They're on a war footing because we've given up on them, because you came in. They're not doing it because they feel good about the situation. They feel good. They're doing it because they are filling a gap that exists that will cost lives if they don't do it.
He's amazed, but that 5% is, a lot of it's coming back to the United States. With that being said, I'd like to see the killing stop. 25,000 people died last month, soldiers, mostly soldiers, but some people also, where bombs were dropped.
Yeah, soldiers aren't people. I don't know if you know that.
But for the most part, 25,000 soldiers died last month. I would love to see it stop, and we're working very hard. It doesn't really affect the United States unless it got...
Well, yeah, especially if you're a heartless fuck.
Out of control. You know, a thing like that, as you probably know, because you are a professional, a real professional, which is something I don't say about a lot of other people, but you are a great professional. Things like this end up in third world wars. And
they do all the time. That's the thing you could say consistently about them. They just turn into third world wars. Mostly wars in the third world, you know.
I told that the other day. I said...
Yes, and you sound as much like an asshole right now as you did then.
You know, everybody keeps playing games like this. You'll end up in a third world war, and we don't want...
Yeah, that's what Russia's telling everyone. That's the threat that they're using. Mad at mutual assured destruction as an umbrella under which they can attack anybody they want.
See that happen.
You're right. He can't say the word civilian. That's what he gets hung up on. Like soldiers and people, the other people too. Like he can't, that word won't come out of his brain. I think you're absolutely right.
Can you confirm that you have appointed a general to lead the stabilization forces in Gaza? What will be his mission, and how soon do you want to see?
Well, we're working very strongly on Gaza, yeah.
We're working very strongly on Gaza, yeah. When I'm up at night tweeting about fucking, state reps and people that I want fired, I'm really working on Gaza. I'm making notes and stuff. That's how my brain works on all fronts at once, baby.
We're working very much on Gaza. We actually do have a real peace in the Middle East. We have 59 countries supporting it, which has never happened before. We have countries that want to come in and take care of Hamas, as an example. We have countries that want to come in and take care of Hezbollah in Lebanon, as an example.
What do you mean take care of them? Other Muslim countries want to take over that area? So Lebanon and I guess Egypt and the Palestinian territories, there are other Arab countries you're partnering with that will run those Arabs out? Sounds like peace in the Middle East to me.
And I say, right now you don't have to do that. You may have to do that, but we have countries that are volunteering to come in and literally take care of the whole thing. We have a great peace in the Middle East. It's never happened before. And
it's not happening now.
I think it's very strong, actually.
It's not. But keep thinking.
Netanyahu, you're supposed to meet him end of this month. What's on the agenda?
Well, we get along with him very well. He's been a wartime prime minister, certainly. We did a big thing when we went in with this very plane right here, this beautiful plane.
Oh dear.
We went in with those B-2s, and now I can use the word because it's been confirmed by the Atomic Energy Commission, we obliterated their nuclear capability.
No, it wasn't, and no, you didn't, and you're a silly person.
Potential. And their nuclear
with your little toy plane
capability would have been there in about 2 months. I think it looked like it was. Some people say 2 weeks. I don't know if it's 2 weeks, but a very short period of time. They were
definitely before you would have a healthcare plan. Anyways, we know
very
that.
Close to having massive nuclear weapons.
Right, and imagine that they would go from not having them to having them in a time that you could not even put together a concept of a plan.
And these guys went in and they did a job. And that made peace possible because everybody was afraid of Iran. And now they're not afraid of Iran anymore.
Nothing says peace like destroying your enemy's ability to fight.
And Iran would like to make a deal with us.
Your own national security strategy does not say obliterated, sir. It says set them back. Your intro does.
Well, the Atomic Energy Commission said obliterated. And the people that have seen the
no, they didn't.
Site said obliterated. And
no, they didn't.
Frankly, Iran said it was obliterated.
No, they didn't.
And to show you how accurate it was, and And, you know, I fight for the pilots because the pilots and those people went in there at great risk. And
yeah, that's what they're criticizing the pilots. They hit the sites. That doesn't mean they hit all the sites, you dumb son of a bitch.
They hit every single target on
that you gave them. That doesn't mean they hit all the targets where the nuclear facilities are, or where their nuclear plans and their capabilities are.
Every single bomb. And they did a lot of damage. And for them to be given anything less than 100% of the credit is unfair. So I will tell you, the Atomic Energy...
Yeah, you can't criticize them just because he fucked up.
Commission said it's like God's...
And any criticizing of him is a criticism of them. So now what are you going to do?
No, it's... one person actually used the term obliterated, but Iran...
Yeah, you used that word.
And actually said that they probably can never go there again. They can probably never start there again. If they ever started, they'd probably choose a new site. But
well, yeah.
Regardless,
they already have several other sites.
Took out the Iran nuclear site with great talent. No other country could have done that. No other country has weapons like we do, but no other country could have done that.
Israel could have done it. I mean, they would have bought some of the weapons from us or from someone else, but yeah, I mean, there are other options.
We have the best weapons in the world. We have the best military in the world. And when we took out Iran, that...
And Iran had the best targets in the world.
Allowed for peace. There's no way that... And I really have great respect for the King of Saudi Arabia, for the Emir. I'm friendly with UAE. These are great people. These are actually great people and great leaders.
Nope.
There's no way they could have done a deal if Iran was not really nullified to a large extent. Iran is not the same country. Iran was a country...
Sorry, so all they had was nukes? I thought they were funding Hezbollah and Hamas and all these other... That was primarily through proxies is how they extended their power. And they didn't even have nukes yet. So all the shit they've been doing, maybe they'll stop wasting their money trying for nukes and just spend the rest of the money fucking around with everywhere else. Like... We don't have... We fire everybody that was working on the nukes. We'll use that money for Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis.
That was feared by everybody. Now it's a country that...
I had to sneeze, sorry.
It's been very much downgraded. I'm sure that...
Well, obliterated, very much downgraded. What's the fucking difference?
They'll try and come back, and they're very capable people. Maybe they will, maybe they won't.
They are reconstituting their missile program quite quickly.
Well, you know, they can try, but it's going to take them a long time to come back. But if they do want to come back, and they want to come back without a deal, then we're going to obliterate that one too. You know, we can knock it.
Yeah. If it isn't obliterated, you know, after the first obliteration, we can obliterate it's like double infinity. You know what I mean? It's like infinity math.
Out their missiles very quickly. We have great power. And we helped.
And with that comes great irresponsibility.
Israel a lot. We were shooting down the drones. We were doing a lot of things for Israel. We did a good job for Israel. But Israel did a good job. They fought. And they all fought bravely. Look, that's a war. That's a vicious war. They're all vicious wars. When you write, hey, you covered a lot of wars. They're all vicious. We never saw a nice one, right?
Right.
They're all vicious.
What the fuck does that mean?
But that was a big fight.
A lot of wars. There's a lot of wars, and you know, when wars are nasty. I've never seen a fun war.
But the big thing was the knockout of the possible nuclear capability, and it was a complete knockout of nuclear.
Yes, not a complete obliteration, but a complete knockout or whatever. I mean, he's down for the... I mean, I don't think he's going to get up by the count of 10.
That doesn't mean that over the next 2 years or 3 years they're not going to come back or not going to try.
So not obliterated is your point.
I think they got hit so hard, they may talk about trying, but I don't think they want to try. And I can tell you that they would love to be able to make a deal with me. They would love to be able to make a deal with me.
Based on what? The fact that you'll make a deal with the heads of Qatar and the UAE and Saudi Arabia, and you're like, well, fuck, if he'll sign off on these fucking monsters.
And I'd love to make a deal with them if we could. You know, we were not close, but not so close, but we were reasonably there for a deal with Iran before the bombing, and they would have been
no, you weren't
much better off if they made a deal. They could have had a deal. They could have had a deal where they would have been much better off. Look at what we've done. I mean, their place is blown up. Forget about the nuclear. The nuclear is gone, but they're look at the damage they've suffered, the death. that they've suffered.
To where? What are you talking about? Like, the nuclear facilities weren't in downtown Tehran.
They could have had a deal with nobody would have died, no buildings would have been down, nothing would have happened.
Why? You would have just signed a trust me, bro? It would have been 2 weeks away from. You're saying they were 2 weeks to 2 months away from a nuclear weapon, and you could have made a deal where they just, on a handshake, you agreed that they would not make a nuke, and they'd go, absolutely, and then that would be that.
We would have blown up their nuclear. That would have been it. They could have had a great deal, but they missed that opportunity. But they would like to make a deal right now. Iran would like to make a deal with me.
Really? The phone's ringing off the hook. Yeah.
Yes, please.
To do what, also? What kind of a deal are you talking about? You're going to trust them in the deal? Shit, are they going to trust you? You walked out of the last deal they had with the United States. Why the fuck would they trust a new one?
President, do you think the Senate should confirm your nominee for Religious Freedom Ambassador, Mark Walker, in time for Christmas?
Of course he does, you fucking tit. What is some RAV asshole?
You know, a Christmas gift to Christians around the world.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I've heard good things about Mark. Why is something come up that I don't know about?
Well, he was nominated in April, and he still hasn't received even a...
Well, I'd like to see him. I mean, I'm hearing very good things about him.
Jesus Christ. He was like, did he fuck with somebody? Did I ruin... Did he get busted doing something and I need to pull him? Oh, he didn't? I heard great things about him then.
So I thought by asking that question, something new came up. There's breaking news about Mark Walker. I'd like to see him. I've always found him to be a high-quality person, frankly. Yeah, I'd like to see that happen. I will say John Thune, though, has done a good job. He's approved. He's gotten hundreds of people approved.
Yeah, maggots hate that. They're really on the Thune warpath.
You have a roadblock with the Democrats. They're just obstructionists, that's all. That's all they're good at is obstructing. They're not good at creating. They're only good at obstructing.
Well, if you set up a barrier so a bull doesn't run through a children's playground, are you really obstructing the bull or protecting the children?
Wanting open borders and men and women's sports and transgender, for all things that transgender for everybody, all
Still the same thing. Transgender for everyone. That's Peter Thiel's thing, by the way.
Things that people don't want. And
people don't even know about it.
They're obstructionists. They're doing that with healthcare. We have a great healthcare proposal where we pay all of the hundreds of billions of dollars that the insurance companies have been making. Their stock is up 1,700%. And by the way, the stock market today hit another high. 52 times we hit a high.
Wait, you can't say it's a good thing and then say it's bad because of profits in healthcare.
In a 10-month period, that's during my second presidency, and it's been amazing. Nobody's seen anything like it. We had the greatest economy in history.
Just moving away from the insurance thing entirely, just dropping that entirely.
In my first term.
Thank you for the super chat.
I think we're blowing it away right now. And again, prices were the highest they ever were.
They're good. Like affordability is a hoax.
Inflation was the highest in 48 years, or I think ever. They say 48 years. The press says 48 years. I'll accept that, but I think it was the highest inflation we've ever had under the past administration. We had the highest prices. We have high inflation. You have high prices. Prices are coming way down.
Nope.
Energy's coming way down.
Nope.
Gasoline is hitting now $1.99 in a couple of states, and it's way down. Gasoline is way down.
Home values are going down, though. There you go.
And when gasoline and energy comes down, everything follows. But prices are coming down, and we have an unbelievable economy.
You're right. No one believes it, especially your own supporters.
401ks are setting a record. 401ks, that's...
Yeah, if you're retiring right now, you're in great shape. If you're actually working, you're kind of fucked.
Owned by a lot of people, because they're based on the stock market. And the stock market for 50-second time has just hit a brand new high. So it's amazing what's happening. And I will say this, our country is respected again. I think we're respected.
So healthcare plan? No, we're not. We're just sliding away from that. Just remember that's where this tirade started.
Like never before. The United States is respected again. We have a country that was a dead country 1 year ago, dead. and now it's the hottest country anywhere in the world. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you.
You can call me.
Thank you, press. Let's go. Let's go.
Let me know.
Thank you, press. Let's go.
You can call me.
Press.
Call you?
Press. Thank you,
Let me know.
guys. Thank you, press. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Not getting up and leaving himself, making them leave.
Thank you, guys.
Not showing his cankles, and nobody's letting him see how he leaves the room.
Thank you, guys.
Let's get it.
Yeah, he forgot to sign the fucking thing.
Let's get a good picture. Pulitzer Prize. This is going to be a Pulitzer Prize picture. Let's give him the Pulitzer Prize. He's in that. Do you like this guy?
Way to cover. He forgot to sign the fucking thing.
Everybody likes Albert, right?
Yeah.
Look at his face start to droop when he concentrates. This is the right side of his face.
No auto pen necessary. That's a whole big deal, isn't it?
No, it's not.
Well, what's that all about?
It's gibberish. Nobody gives a fuck.
Okay. Who am I giving this pen to, David? Who am I giving it to?
How about Cyril?
You're right.
Thank
what
you,
a
sir.
job he's done. That's a good choice. Thank
That
you
was
very
nice.
much. I almost gave it to Howard. Thank you, everybody, very
All right.
much.
Thank you, press.
Hey, look at the back of his hand. Yeah.
Let's go.
They're using one of those like blister band-aids.
Makeup
Makeup on it.
Well,
That was it. Never see him watch for this, by the way, everybody. How rarely you will see him entering or leaving a room anymore. Getting up, standing up, or sitting down, any of those situations. If he's walking up to a podium, he'll walk up to it and they're prepped for it. But any of these things, increasingly you're just seeing him already sitting in the room and before they let the press in and they make him leave before he does. For real. Anyways, we got through that whole thing. We haven't done a whole run of one of those things in a little bit. I've got to run off. Thank you guys for sticking around. Tomorrow, the radio show, the House Parks radio program, Megaworldwiide, with me and Johnny Million. And I think Philip Ittner is going to be rejoining us so we can catch up on what's going on in Ukraine. And after this, it's almost like the blather about this peace deal was as meaningless as everything else Trump has done or said to move this process forward or in some other direction than it's obviously headed, which is Russia losing. And so we'll see, if there's been any updates from his perspective and that kind of stuff. But appreciate you guys, and I will see you later on. Hold on, I'm feeling this theme tonight. I'm feeling there it is. This one. It's nice. I like it. Take care of yourselves. Take care of somebody else. Hit that like, share the show. Venmo is a great way to support the show. Patreon.com/HouseParks. And then, of course, those of you that have done PayPal and that kind of stuff, thank you so much, and every little bit helps. Appreciate it a lot, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning. There you go, Twitch people. Throw some emojis around, will ya?